their firearms and a shootout ensued. Police spokesperson Novella Botelo.
They pulled over a vehicle fitting the description specified in their information. The suspects pointed the police with the firearms, and as a consequence, 4 yet-to-be-identified men were shot and killed. 3 firearms were seized from the scene.
The DA says the deployment of soldiers to gang hotspots in the Western Cape is an admission of failure by the South African Police Service. SANDF troops are set to be deployed in Cape Town from next week, but the DA's Benedicta van Minnen says while any intervention to curb crime is welcomed, sending in the army is just not a solution. Van Minnen says more than 1,000 murders were recorded in the Western Cape between October and December last year, with 1 in 4 linked to gangs and up to 75% occurring in Cape Town. She argues that the SANDF cannot investigate crimes or secure convictions and warns that violence is likely to return once troops have been withdrawn.
It also weakens accountability, as military deployment in civilian areas raises constitutional concerns and prevents oversight of enforcement actions in crime-ridden areas.
And in the US, Meta and Google are considering their legal options following a major loss on social media use for young people. The Los Angeles jury handed down an unprecedented win for a young woman who sued Meta and YouTube over her childhood addiction to social media. The woman, known as Kaylee, testified that social media use that started before she was a teenager dominated her life and contributed to her mental health issues. Jurors found that Meta and Google's YouTube intentionally built addictive social media platforms that harmed the 20-year-old's mental health. She was awarded $3 million, while another form of damages is yet to be determined by the court. Gold is trading at $4,521.23 an ounce. The rand is at 16.98 to the dollar, 22.70 to the pound, 19.65 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $103.74 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got heavy delays in Waterkloof Park. That's in the city of Tshwane. The N1 North towards Rigel Avenue, a major accident seen there. There's also queuing traffic on the N1 South between Rigel Avenue and the Flying Saucer interchange as a result of that scene. Then if you are traveling on the M1 South, queuing traffic just as you approach the College Drive exit.
A partly cloudy Thursday in store for Gauteng today, with afternoon showers expected. Temperatures peaking at highs of between 28 and 30 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour, Police Minister Feroz Kachale is expected to meet with the President to discuss the latest developments involving National Police Commissioner Fani Masemola.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
You're with Clement Manyathela
On 702.
Let's Walk the Talk. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856.
92.7 and 106 FM.
Minutes after 9 o'clock, not 7 o'clock. That was, 2 hours ago. It's 8 minutes now after 9 o'clock. Dumilang, welcome to the Thursday edition of the Clement Manyathela Show. Thank you for being with us here on 702. I trust you're well this morning. We start with the 702 open line on 011-883-0702. The WhatsApp line is 072-702-1702. What the heck is going on in our SAPS? Just when you thought this is a broken system with corruption and the road going too deep, more wheels are getting off. The house of cards are tumbling down. Our National Police Commissioner, Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi, is a... Now they're going to say, oh, you want him to be the National Police Commissioner? Our National Police Commissioner, Fani Masamula, is expected to appear in court next month. He's expected to be charged in relation to the 360 million rand SAPS tender that was dished out to alleged criminal Ket Matlala. What's interesting for me is that IDEC is only acting on him now, even when rumors of his arrest have been around for some time now. So I wonder if IDEC was merely still investigating or if they were worried about acting right after that July press briefing, because they probably would have been, they would have been seen as being part of the problem, especially because General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi made allegations against IDEC and its investigators, or maybe because IDEC was looking at a completely different matter that had nothing to do with this 360 million rand tender. Now, what is the National Police Commissioner likely to be charged for? News 24, which has been brilliant at reporting on the rot in the SAPS, particularly this tender that was dished out to Ket Matlala, they are reporting that their sources have confirmed that the commissioner, the national commissioner that is, will be charged because he failed in his duties as an accounting officer. He ignored 2 warnings that this tender that was given to Ket Matlala was marred by fraud and corruption. And as a result, Ket Matlala's company was paid 50 million rand because of these delays in acting. He was warned before and after the awarding of the tender. So his inaction led to Matlala's company being paid 50 million rand before the deal was even cancelled. So why did it take the National Police Commissioner 54 days for him to send a letter to Ket Matlala threatening termination of contract? There was already an internal audit report sent to him in January. That report said, "Sir, it's within your authority to act immediately." And he decided to act 54 days later. Why? It's important to ask why, because that delay is the problem. That delay has led to 50 million rand being spent by the SAPS and flowing into Matlala's companies. Remember, the National Police Commissioner was actually asked at the Madlanga Commission about this delay and when he actually acted. Because before he even awarded this tender, he was warned by IDEC that it looks like there's a problem around this tender. And the National Commissioner said, "Oh, I checked compliance to prescripts and I found actually there seems to be compliance here." Here's a reminder of what he told the Madlanga Commission when he was asked about when he acted against this tender.
The sifting, and from there they will do in terms of supply chain processes, whatever evaluation, whether they do through point system, whatever, and then they will recommend to the bid adjudication committee. So in this specific one, the same process was followed, and the BAC then allocated this to Medicare 24 Tshwane district. But I must say that somewhere in that process, I did get an indication of a call from one of the members of IDEC to say he's concerned about a company called Medicare 24 that is bidding for this contract, and it might have no tax clearance certificate, and it was involved in Tembisa. And I did inquire from the relevant officials, which there was an acting divisional commissioner by then. I inquired about that, and the response I got was that people get given a specific period to submit an updated tax clearance certificate which in this case, Medicare 24 have submitted a valid tax clearance certificate, and also Medicare 24 is not blacklisted by the National Treasury on the central database. As a result, they are free to bid like anybody else. And I think, that was I gave them that feedback, and that was it.
See, that was the National Police Commissioner. So the question that will be asked is, did he violate the Public Finance Management Act? Because he's bound by law to take effective and appropriate steps to prevent unauthorized, irregular, and fruitless and wasteful expenditure and losses from criminal conduct. I mean, this case, I think, is going to be so important. I think it's going to set an important precedence. You know, as a public official in authority, you have a responsibility to act timeously and with urgency when there are irregularities flagged to protect the institution. You can't be dilly-dallying when evidence is so clear. So the question now is, how do you justify him staying on the job while he deals with this matter in the courts? And an acting appointment is going to be necessary here, no? At least pending the outcome of his legal proceedings. And I suspect that he will step down. I'm sure that's what's being negotiated now. So do you agree that he must step down or be placed on precautionary suspension? Or do you think that that is going to add more instability on the police? And who do you think could act as National Police Commissioner while Masemola deals with these issues in court? I know some of you have mentioned General Mkhonazi, but his contract ends at the end of this month, and I'm not sure if he has already signed a new one already. But also, don't you need someone who is separate and removed from this scandal? Because General Mkhonazi made allegations against Ket Matlala regarding this contract. Does that make him conflicted, or do you think it doesn't matter? He is the one to be trusted right now. Give me a call on 011-883-0702. WhatsApp's 0727021702. Also, remember, the police minister is on suspension or special leave. The head of intelligence has been charged. The National Police Commissioner is about to be charged. The Deputy National Police Commissioner for Crime Detection, Shadrack Sibia, is on suspension. The head of the Hawks in KZN is on suspension. The head of organized crime in Gauteng is on suspension. Where does this leave your confidence in the SAPS? With all these allegations of corruption reaching the highest office in policing, I mean, surely public trust gets hammered every time this cycle repeats itself. Just yesterday, we had 12 top cops in court. And now their boss is going to be appearing next month. Give me a call or send a WhatsApp voice note. At 10 o'clock, we're going to have a conversation with EFF leader Julius Malema. At 11 o'clock, we are going to then do our hanging out feature. Normally, we would do it at 10 o'clock. But we're going to shift things around today. We're going to have a wide-ranging chat with Julius Malema at 10. And then at 11 o'clock, we're going to do our hanging out feature. And today I'm going to be hanging out with the ANC Parliamentary Chief Whip, Dumisani Duli. That's the show coming up over the next 3 hours.
Clement Manyathela. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
Good morning, Clement and all 702 lenders. This is Emma from Pretoria. Ke kopa go botsa, is that a criminal charge? Or is that an issue that should be dealt with administratively? That's my first question. My second question is that it doesn't seem like he is charged yet. It seems like they're thinking of charging him. Are we really discussing the right thing at the right time? Kelebo.
Good morning, it's Kevin from Rodiport. In all fairness, let's be honest. If I was the president this morning, I was gonna suspend Masemola this instant. It's crazy what's going on. It's crazy. He must be suspended immediately. Besides, this subpoena, why do you subpoena somebody if you've got evidence? He should be arrested. He should have appeared yesterday with the others. Thank you kindly.
Yeah, it's going to be a tricky one. I'm telling you, let's see how the president and the police minister are going to deal with it. Tsapo, you calling us from Bramfontein. What are your thoughts? Good morning.
Good morning, Clement. Clement, I think we're missing the point here. If it was for me, I was not going to suspend Fani Masemola. He looks like a very good guy. And if you're suspending him, meaning the severe team is winning. And if you check the Madanga inquiry, these guys were always acting against the bad guys. To me, he's on the side of the good guys.
Mm-hmm.
And if at the end of the day they do suspend him, they must not make someone to act on the SAPS. They must just call a professor from VETS or from UCT to act until this matter of Cat Matala is get to finalize. They'll see who to appoint.
Okay.
But for me, Fani is a very good man.
Yeah, but Seppo, here are the facts. He didn't act timeously to cancel Ket Matlala's contract. And of course, there's no evidence, there's not even a suggestion that he's going to be charged for corruption because he somehow benefited. We'll find out soon. But from what we are hearing is that he's going to be likely to be charged for violating the Public Finance Management Act, which says you have to act with urgency. He was warned, even while this tender, before it was given, he was warned by IDEC that, hey, this guy you guys are about to give a tender to is quite a problem.
But Clement, he was warned. But according to me, in that 44 days, he was doing a research. As a head, you can't just take, let's say they advise you just act without making a research. He was doing his research, and 54 days is justifiable. It's not 6 months, it's not 8 months.
54 days? While 50 million rand is being sent to Ket Matlala's company.
But if you had very nicely, that contract of Matlala was helping the new recruits. I mean, if the new recruits are in the camp, we can't just terminate his contract because some police officers will suffer. I mean, it's justifiable, guys. Let's just be honest. Honest.
All right, Seppo says it's justifiable. The delays or the period that the National Police Commissioner took in just dealing with this contract before it was terminated. But remember, in those 54 days, 50 million rand left the coffers of the SAPS and it went to Ket Matlala. And you know exactly where it ended up after it reached Ket Matlala's company, don't you? Kustas, you calling from Midrand. Good morning.
Hey, good morning. Good morning, Clement. Yes,
Sure.
Clement, we do know that Paul O'Sullivan always wanted Masemola to be removed there so that they can install their men. For me, I'm sad then that he's going to leave because we understand that he's the one who went to court to speak on behalf of Khumalo so that Khumalo can get back to work. So who's going to speak for Masemola this time around? I don't think there's anyone. If the court decides whatever sanction there is there, we don't know. However, for me, the IDEC team is the same team of McBride. It's the same team that Paul O'Sullivan used to chase Pasane with. Now, with that in mind, then when Clement, we cannot assume that IDEC is acting independently because now they have chosen sides in this fight, so to speak. Now, we don't know the charges there, that I must state categorically. But for me, IDEC needs to be reconstituted as an independent team. Currently, they are too much in the debt, even themselves, for us to consider that the work that they are doing is truly independent.
Okay, Kustas, let me ask this, right? And I'm trying to move away from IDEC, but to still bring it back on the issue of the National Police Commissioner. I mean, I really think that Fani Masemola is a cool person. He's very level-headed. He is very calm. He's got a calm demeanor. He seems to be someone who understands the job. He's a career politician. I'm not suggesting that means that he may not be involved in corruption or not do any irregular things. Yeah. But what I'm saying is I'm picking up that there's often a lot of sympathy that comes towards even the decision he makes. Because I remember when we debated on this show why he took an illegal instruction, for instance, from a police minister. A lot of people were like, yeah, but it's very tough to get instructions from your boss and you don't do anything about it, you may be fired. But if it's somebody else, I wonder if you would take the same position. Or you would still be tough and say, when you are in a position of authority like that, the stakes are too high and we expect you to be a brave employee. So when your boss comes and gives you an illegal instruction, in your position of authority, you have to stand your ground and not be easily worried about, oh, what if I lose my job? That's not a police commissioner we need in that position.
Yeah, Clement, so there's something that Masemola has, maybe another person has. He was honest. he said some of the decisions were career threatening. Now, Masemola is a career cop, Clement, who wanted this job. I'm not defending the guy, but I remember very well. We know, when Clement, that Masemola was not the first choice guy on those interviews, because there was no way he could have beaten Mkwanazi on that interview. So Masemola was put there because he was a guy who was, compliant.
Okay, Kustas in Midrand, thank you so much. Let me bring in now Professor Firoz Kachalia, who's the acting minister of police. Professor Kachalia, thank you so much for making time for us. Good morning.
Pleasure. Good morning, Clement.
Have you met with President Cyril Ramaphosa yet to discuss this issue with the National Police Commissioner?
Yes, just after the cabinet meeting yesterday, Minister Kubai and myself had a brief meeting with the President. We discussed quite briefly some of the options, and he then instructed me to, I'm going to present to him in writing some reflections on how we should respond to the events yesterday. But of course, this will be the President's decision under the Constitution and legislation. And yes, I have had a conversation with General Masemola, and I will be addressing the Board of Commissioners, that's the senior police officers, this afternoon. And I'm happy, if you've got the time and the inclination, to discuss with you other steps I've taken.
Yes, please.
I'm planning to take. Well, yes, so apart from what I've already mentioned, I've asked General Nkua, who's responsible for HR management, to respond to the possible gaps and capacity gaps that might be created, because there's a substantial number of senior police officers who've been charged. So we need to take some steps to plug those gaps. Secondly, I've had a discussion with General Timpane. These are both, senior police officers. They are very competent and, in my view, very reliable. General Timpane has been asked, I want to set up an intervention team to look at procurement in general and how to strengthen the control environment, because clearly the problem is not just with a single contract, which is bad enough. And so we need to, in a sense, look at the current situation and say, how do we ensure that procurement is managed correctly going forward? In that regard, I've had a discussion with Minister Enoch Godongwana, in charge of the Treasury, because they usually provide some support for a process like this. I will be having a conversation with the Auditor General. So I want to make sure that we have a strong intervention team, which will include outside experts. And I'm going to set up an interim governance panel to advise me on the implementation of the recommendations of the Madlanga Commission, and more broadly on the professionalization of the police service. I've had some discussions with Professor Fikeni of the Public Service Commission along these lines, because clearly what we now need to do is look ahead and ask the question, what kind of police service do we want to build in the next decade? And what are the steps that are necessary to change the picture from what it is now to what we want to build and achieve.
Yeah, and thank you so much for that extensive explanation of the steps you're going to be taking. In the interim now, though, Prof, and I understand you're going to be writing to the President with the different options. He takes the ultimate decision. But from your preliminary reflections and the conversations you've had, do you think it would be appropriate for the National Police Commissioner to still be in the job while he ventilates this matter in court?
Look, this is obviously the key question. It's a critical question. If you don't mind, I would like to have that conversation with the National Commission and the President before I express a view publicly on that matter.
Okay. And the options, though, that you have discussed with the president, are you able to confirm if one of them has been a possible precautionary suspension?
No, yesterday we didn't go into any level of detail, and that's why I am and already have a draft document that I will send to the presidency today, setting out some options. But as I say, it's for the president to decide. And let me make it very clear that the president is taking, in my view, a very correct position, which is to say that IDAC is an independent body. It has made decisions to charge a number of individuals, including the National Commissioner. And I must point out, because I think it's an important fact, that the National Commissioner has been charged with breaches of the Public Finance Management Act, not fraud or corruption. The public may feel that that's putting too fine a point on it, but I feel that I should make that point. And we're going to have to make a careful decision about what our options are now that the National Commissioner has been charged.
What's your message to South Africans, Professor Kachalia? Because, oh my goodness, they just don't know if they can even trust the SAPS. We've got a permanent Minister of Police who's on special leave or suspended. The head of intelligence has been charged. Now the police commissioner is about to be charged. The deputy national commissioner for crime detection, Shadrach Sibia, is on suspension. The head of the Hawks in KZN is on suspension. The head of organized crime in Gauteng is on suspension. Where does this leave our confidence as members of the public in the SAPS? How do you assure us that we can still trust this institution and its work, it's still firmly in progress?
Look, this is what I truly, deeply believe, and it is certainly my responsibility while I have executive authority. The issue for me, once we've made an assessment of where we are, and it's certainly not a pretty picture, is what steps are necessary to define the future, to reshape how policing occurs in this country, to build a police service that is worthy of the respect and trust of our people. I believe we can do that if we start to have a conversation which is future orientated, which is constructive, aimed at addressing the fundamental problems we can all see. You know, I watch, like many of your listeners, I've been watching the Madlanga Commission and the Ad Hoc Committee with a mixture of despair and anger and outrage. But my responsibility is not simply to have feelings and emotions about what is wrong in SAPS, but to see what can be done to rebuild the trust that policing depends on in the country. I believe we can do that. And I will also make this point. The picture that is emerging is not the whole story. There are very highly trained, highly competent police officers in the leadership of the organization, and there are hard-working police officers across what is a national organization made up of 180,000 police officers with police stations across the country who are every day involved in fighting crime. And I worry, actually, that many of them will be looking at what's happening. It will be very demoralizing. So I have a message for them as well. Let us work together to rebuild the South African police service, because we need a South African police service that is competent, that is professional, that is accountable. And I believe that, you know, we have made a lot of mistakes over the last 30 years. We have to understand what those mistakes have been and correct them. And the mistakes have not only been made by senior management in the police, it's also been made by politicians who have abused power, who have overstepped their mandates, who have not focused on what they were supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of blame all around. But once we're beyond that, the question always remains, what must we do to change this picture?
Yeah. Prof, thank you so much for making time for us. I really appreciate it. Professor Firoz Kachalia, Acting Police Minister, confirming on 702 this morning that the National Police Commissioner is being charged for violating the Public Finance Management Act. So not necessarily the corruption that's been reported elsewhere in as far as this 360 million rand tender is concerned. Let's get the latest in Eyewitness News headlines. Apologies for being late for news. Bali, good morning.
Thanks, Clement. Good morning. Acting Police Minister Firoz Kachalia is expected to meet with the President to discuss the latest developments involving National Police Commissioner Fani Masemola. That meeting will be to discuss action to be taken after Masemola was served with a summons to appear in court next month. Yesterday, Masemola was served in connection with his alleged links to the 360 million rand tender awarded to alleged crime kingpin Vusumuzi Matala. The assault case against Action SA's Ekurhuleni mayoral candidate Xolani Khumalo is expected to go on trial in the Palm Ridge Magistrates Court from today. Khumalo handed himself over to police in January in connection with an assault charge opened against him. He maintains the case as part of a smear campaign over his fight against drugs. While in Nepal, an investigation looking into a deadly uprising last year has recommended the prosecution of ex-Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli. At least 77 people were killed in the anti-corruption youth uprising in September of 2025. The protests began over a brief social media ban, but then turned into demonstrations over the harsh economic conditions. Those are the headlines. This EWN and more at 10 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Well, travelling in the Bedfordview area, we do have delays on the N12 as well as the R24 west between Edenville Road and the Glulies interchange. There's also queuing traffic reported on the M1 south between Marlborough Drive and the Corlett Drive exit. Please be on the lookout there and approach with care. If you are travelling on the M1 north, we still have got delays, unfortunately, between Boysons Road and the Crown turnoff. There's also slow-moving traffic in Sharon Lee along Malibongo Drive between Oliver North Avenue and the N1. In the city of Tshwane, hectic delays on the N1 North. This is between the Flying Saucer interchange and Rigel Avenue. Queuing traffic as well on the N1 South. I think this is due to onlookers along this route towards the Flying Saucer interchange. And if you are leaving Mountain View, do expect delays on the R80 East Mabopane Highway as you approach Eskom-Pahlele Drive. More updates coming up. Do stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
In life's most challenging moments of loss, compassion can be your greatest comfort. You shouldn't have to face the financial burden of losing a loved one by yourself. Rest assured, Clientele's funeral plans pay out cash within 24 hours. You can cover up to 13 family members on one plan, ensuring all your loved ones are taken care of, and 3 children are covered at no additional cost. With Clientele, you're not just buying a plan, you're also buying peace of mind. When the time comes, you will need to make important calls with your 200 Rand airtime you will receive when you claim. Plans offer double accidental death cover, as well as transport, grocery and unveiling benefits. Apply today, it's easy. There are no medical examinations and no paperwork. SMS funeral to 31586. That's 31586. Clientele Life is an authorized FSP and licensed life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
Elevate your flying experience with Lift Premium. Enjoy even more space, comfort, and convenience with priority boarding, extra baggage allowance, and complimentary lounge access. Visit lift.co.za today.
These holidays, millions of South Africans dream of a well-earned getaway. The reality, however, can be very different.
Yeah, beautiful view of the N1.
Accommodation can look great online, but in reality...
Cats everywhere, just cats.
Sadly, they've been flat-fished. That's why City Lodge brings you SOS. Visit saveourstay.co.za for City Lodge hotels nearby and up to 30% off. Getting flat-fished is hard. Check into easy. T's and C's apply.
Every hour in South Africa, someone hears the words, "You have blood cancer." For many patients, a stem cell transplant is their only chance at survival. Yet their match could come from a stranger, someone like you. It takes just 3 minutes to register as a stem cell donor. So visit dkmsafrica.org today and give someone the best kind of hope.
When you're running a small business, you need someone who speaks your language, who understands when you talk innovation, growth, scaling. Someone like MTN Business and 702. The 702 MTN Small Business Awards, from the townships to the suburbs and everywhere in between. We want to talk about you and your business. Go to primemediaplus.com to enter your business or nominate one you know. Because once we start talking about where you are now, you'll be well on your way to reaching your next. The 702 MTN Small Business Awards. Let's talk shop. T's, C's and more on primemediaplus.com.
Your voice.
Your station.
Your open line.
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
It's 20 minutes before 10 o'clock. You've heard what the acting police minister has said. He has assured you that you don't need to worry. We still have very dedicated women and men in blue who take the work seriously and who take seriously also the responsibility to protect you. But also as a police officer, you've heard the assurance that he has made to you as well. And if you're a police officer, I would like to hear from you. When you see all of this happening, are you demoralized? Are you happy because you're wondering, okay, maybe this is a cleanup? This is an overhaul of the system and it's important for the system to go through that overhaul? Or does it make you wonder, what's the point of our work? Give me a call on 011-883-0702 or maybe just send us a WhatsApp voice note. You can do so anonymously on 072-702-1702. Mpo, you're calling us from Pretoria. Good morning.
Good morning, Clement. Thank you for taking my call and good morning to your listeners.
Sure.
Clement, I'm glad that the Prof, touched on the system. There's big time irregularities with the system, and I think that's the first thing that we need to look at. Personally, I don't think that Masemola should vacate office because he's dealing with. He acted within the confines of his internal processes. To your reference, there were external bodies that warned him about this tender or this tender process.
Yeah.
And he says he interrogated those points. The 2 points was, one, the tax clearance, which you can't get disqualified based on the tax clearance in non-compliance. You must be given an opportunity to rectify that. The second one is that they said he was involved in the Tembisa, but the guy's got a lot of companies, so we don't even know. When he interrogated it, his team said, but this company is not deregistered on the treasury. It's not blacklisted on the treasury. But the system, that's the thing, right? All competitive bidders could have gone to court and tried to interdict this process, but they didn't. My understanding is Masemola only cancelled the contract because of non-performance. This company was supposed to bring staff and they borrowed equipment or material from SAPS themselves, and it was non-performing, and that was the reason for the cancellation. But to want to charge him and prosecute him and have him fired because he as an accounting officer, you account to your processes. If your processes, 3 processes, DEC, DAC, and whatever, say that this is the company that we're recommending, yours is to put a signature and move on.
Yeah, I get you, and I think you're making fair points, Mpo. But how did he deal then? How did he satisfy himself when it comes to the character of the man who was behind the company that was trying to get this tender? Because IDEC said this man is involved in what's already being investigated at the Tembisa hospital. I mean, isn't it at that point that as a national police commissioner, he pauses and he says, oh my goodness, I'm going to either interdict this from going ahead pending the finalization of our investigations, even into how far he is intricately linked in the Tembisa hospital scandal. Didn't he have that responsibility?
Clement, and you are always caught between a rock and a hard place with these guys, right? All of these political opponents, and that's why, the prof said we need to look at the system. One is, if he had done that, he would be dealing with this company now in the courts that the process was interdicted unlawfully. Now you want to play the man. Now you don't want to play the game. The game is the man put in his bid, and the bid went through a process, an internal process. Whether that internal process was influenced by the man or not is immaterial. The accounting officer will claim that he had no knowledge of that. The bid arrived at the accounting officer and said, we have gone through 90 days or 120 days validity period adjudicating these bids, and this is the winning bidder. Sign it and let's move on. And this is exactly what I'm saying. You cancel a bid, and then you're in the courts because the guy is suing you for unlawfully cancelling a process. Then you are fired because you didn't take the right step by cancelling, and you don't cancel the bid. The guy is awarded. He's paid 50 million. Then you are still in the courts for awarding the bid with a guy knowing his character. So what are we talking about here?
Yeah, Mpo, thank you so much for your contribution in Pretoria. Mark, you are in Centurion. What do you think? Hello, Mark.
I see that Clement.
Oh, Mark, your line is not good, my brother. I'm sending you back to the producers. Let's try to re-establish the line. Koketso in the East Rand. What do you think? Hi.
Yes, morning, Clement. You mentioned to say that there's demoralized police officers. I think we as citizens are actually demoralized, right? And I'll tell you why. I mean, if you look at for the past 30 years, we've had basically all this criminality that's come on that no one can explain. So in the Western Cape, you've got the drug problem, you've got the extortion rackets. In the other provinces, the other 8 provinces, you've got all these other, level of organized criminality, human trafficking, all this crime that just doesn't make any sense, right? So my thing is that I think we are looking at the root cause as, incorrect way. We want to say, no, the cops and whatever. We need to look at, say, the political people in this whole mess are actually the problem, right? So in the Western Cape, you obviously have the TA that's been governing for a substantial time there. In the other 8 provinces is the ANC. So these mainstream parties, and I think one day we'll know, Clement. For now, we don't know, but one day we'll know, we'll be wiser, and we'll know how is it that these mainstream parties are linked to underworld figures. So, for instance, you had that trial of that guy, Nafis Morat, there in the Western Cape. It's still ongoing. Senior cops being killed and everything like that. So one day we will know how these mainstream parties, the DA and the ANC, are linked to people. Because my thing is that we can, change the police leadership. But if the politicians who are still linked to these underworld figures are problematic and are highly corrupt, whoever comes in will also be corrupted, or they'll be threatened, or their family will be threatened. So we almost need to look at scorching the earth from the political side and get in new political people that haven't actually governed to come in and scorch everything. And then we must start afresh, reconstitute, disband all of the structures and reconstitute them. Because clearly you've got entrenched people, embedded people with different interests that are serving criminal cartels, the underworld, syndicates and everything. So
Got you.
To the point where nothing can be trusted. And in a system like that, where nothing can be trusted, you actually need to look at starting it from scratch.
Yeah, Koketso in the Eastern. Thank you.
Hi, morning, Clement. Morning and happy Thursday. Clement, first of all, I think we need to put the issue of Masemola into context. One, he's not charged. 2, he's summoned. And from what we hear, he's not summoned for corruption charges. So as it is, we are, and this we see from Puleli Street Jones and I think Abraham, because they keep giving us updates. So we are still none the wiser as to what are the charges that he has to face. So there's no rush in suspending him until we know the nature of those charges. Thanks, Simon Centurion.
Clement, good morning. Ben here in Brakpan. I think we must be sober. I don't think we need to suspend the National Commissioner as yet. That's number one. Number two, please, if you can, get a legal expert to break down exactly what the National Commissioner is being charged for, and then we can make a decision. Thank you.
Some moments are personal. Some spaces are professional. All of them deserve care. At Frond and Filigree, we create handcrafted floral experiences for life's meaningful moments and the places where they happen. From birthdays and anniversaries to hotels, offices and events, our bespoke arrangements are designed with artistry and intention. Because when flowers are done right, they elevate every moment. Visit frondandfiligree.co.za.
Imagine beginning your holiday to the sound of the ocean and ending it with a sunset encounter with the Big Five. Club Med is bringing their brand new beach and safari resort to KwaZulu-Natal this July. It's the first of its kind, combining a beachfront escape with a private safari lodge experience, all in one holiday. Plus, it's a fully all-inclusive, think gourmet dining, activities, wellness and more. Take advantage of the Club Med season opening sale from the 24th to the 27th of March. Book at clubmed.co.za. T's and C's apply.
Smart Steve from Momentum, hello.
Smart Steve, my daughter just turned 18, right? And now she's got a license and a boyfriend.
You're worried about her safety. With Momentum Safety Alert, she can access help 24/7.
Is that the emergency response version of Curry in a Hurry?
For sure. She can get help at the touch of a button for free.
Free? For all that and all?
Visit momentum.co.za or call 0860 006 784. Momentum Insure, keeping you safe on your journey to success. Momentum Insure is an authorized non-life insurer. T's and C's apply.
This is what progress sounds like. At South African Airways, we've added more aircraft to the runway, increased our flights from just over 1,000 in 2021 to over 24,000 last year. And we continue to add more destinations and routes. It's steady progress over time. We know there's still work to do, but every day we're building something stronger. An airline that shares the resilience of the country it carries. South African Airways. Book your next flight at flysaa.com today.
Sometimes all it takes to reshape the world and deliver better outcomes is a little unconventional thinking. Black Sheep Thinking, powered by Camissa Asset Management.
Netflix came up with a different model. Instead of paying for each film you watched, you paid a once-a-month subscription, and you could watch as many films as often as you would like. And then over time, they developed the idea that you could watch, say, even 3 films at a time. So you could take out 3 movies from their warehouse. And eventually those movies would be stored in your own home and exchanged in that way. And of course, it's morphed into something entirely different to the Netflix we know today. What's the point? People with black sheep thinking not only come up with innovations, but they are resilient and adaptable when they are rejected.
Black Sheep Thinking, every Tuesday on 702 Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa, powered by Camissa Asset Management. Invest different. Camissa Asset Management is a licensed FSP on 702.
Your voice.
Your station.
Your open line.
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
It's 8 minutes before 10 o'clock. Back to your calls. Ashley in Rosebank. Hi.
I'm disappointed. For me, Madimaja itomamo. President Ramaphosa, heart of a president, unkile intelligence, Isako office high. And all these things that have been happening, do you want to tell me this guy didn't know anything? Like even a simple clue of we are being infiltrated because intelligence is in our office. What are they doing? What kind of information are they feeding him?
Yeah, Ashley, who knows, eh? Thank you for the call in Rosebank. Azram in Mamelodi, hi.
Yes, Clement.
Sure.
Sure. You see, in all the provinces of South Africa, in the SAPS, there is legal services. At national office, there is legal offices. There is a department called legal services, which deals with contracts and agreement. In the office of the national commissioner, there is legal services. There are legal experts in the office of the national commissioner. I would understand what the National Commissioner is the accounting officer. He or she must apply his or her mind. But I feel very sorry for the National Commissioner to be blamed for all these things because there are experts surrounding him to give legal opinion.
No, got you. Asram, in Mamelodi.
I feel very sorry for him.
Okay, thank you for your call. More WhatsApps.
Clement Manyathela, how are you? Okay, this is Walter from Begestal. I think the guy, Masemola, somehow there's something in over like it's very suspicious because why would he then cancel the contract after the money is gone? He could have maybe went to the finance before the money goes to that company and stop the money. So I don't understand why would he. Somehow I feel he's somehow maybe connected to these companies because he had the ample time to stop that money going to that company. So he didn't do it. So he let the money go and then at the same time cancel the contract. So why didn't he cancel the flow of money to that contract before he can cancel the contract? Somehow I feel no, he's somehow maybe connected because I think that's how he should have done that. So maybe that's why they feel that this guy is somehow suspicious. Okay, thank you, Clement Manyathela.
Morning, Clement. The whole saga, it's not okay. I do not understand what is going on, but something's going on. All I'm asking is that let Lieutenant Mkhwanazi be protected because I don't like the sound of everything. All of a sudden, Masamula's got a summons. All of a sudden, and Mkhwanazi's contract is coming to an end. But at the same time, we don't have a commissioner. Who's going to be the commissioner? What is happening in the SAPS? And really, nobody should do anything to Lieutenant Mkhwanazi. That's all we're asking for. We just pray God protect that man. He has revealed so much rot in SAPS.
Well, the question now is, has he signed his new contract? Remember the National Police Commissioner in Parliament, when was it? 2 weeks ago. He told Parliament, he was asked in the ad hoc committee, have you sent a new contract to Masemola? And he said, yeah, we're still working on it, but we've discussed it, that it's being renewed. Even the Premier of KZN had to send out a statement saying, Mkhwanazi. Even the Premier of KZN had to send out a statement and say, what's going on with Mkhwanazi's contract? What's going on? Because as the Premier of KZN, we want this man to continue the good work that he's been doing in KwaZulu-Natal. So the question now is, has he signed that contract? And if he hasn't signed that contract yet, would he be one of the people being considered to act without having signed a renewal contract? If really the decision will be taken that Masemola be suspended. It's going to be really fascinating to see how they're going to move on this. It's 3 minutes before 10.
Part of the 702 family.
Hi, it's Michelle from Krugersdorp. I can absolutely say that my entire life has been consumed by news from the time that I was 4 years old and watched Rian Kruiwagen, and still to today I listen to the news, and it's because it's made me a well-rounded person and understanding what's going on in the world. And I thank the 702 family for that.
Welcome to our 702 family.
Let's walk the talk.
To live wealthier, you need to be able to grow your assets. At Standard Bank Private, you get a team of internationally acclaimed financial experts to advise you on local and global investment strategies. Plus, being with a leader in home loans, you can start expanding your property portfolio. So, come live wealthier with Africa's best private bank. Apply online at standardbank.co.za. Standard Bank is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
The Vodacom United Rugby Championship is one of the hottest tournaments on the planet. Hollywood Bets adds spice with an epic competition in which 400,000 Rand in cash, prizes and betting vouchers must be won. Prizes include a Vodacom URC VIP experience and a glamorous Table Mountain adventure. To enter, simply bet 30 Rand or more on any Vodacom URC fixture between 23 January and 16 May. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counseling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp HELP to 076 675 0710.
Calling all wedding planners and venues, restaurants, conference centers and hotels. Do you need tables and chairs? Home in One has it all. Do you need cutlery, crockery, table linen and restaurant equipment? Home in One has it all. Do you need tents, gazebos or umbrellas? Home in One has it all. Affordable prices, the latest trends with 2 branches in Pretoria and Johannesburg. Shop online at homein1.co.za because we're your #1 choice. Home in One has it all.
Clement is on X
at The Real Clement M.
Coming up next, that conversation with the leader of the EFF, Julius Malema. It's 10 o'clock.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Bali Dlamini. Acting Police Minister Feroz Kachalia has confirmed he has spoken briefly with the President about the matter involving National Police Commissioner Fani Masemola. Kachalia says the meeting with the President took place yesterday. Masemola was served with a summons to appear in court next month. This is in connection with his alleged links to the 360 million rand tender awarded to alleged crime kingpin Vusimuzi Matlala. There are calls that are growing for Masemola's suspension, but Kachalia says he will be providing written suggestions to the President on the course of action that can be taken.
We discussed quite briefly some of the options, and he then instructed me to, I'm going to present to him in writing some reflections on how we should respond to the events yesterday. But of course, this will be the President's decision.
Tshwane Mayor Nasipi Moya has distanced her administration from corruption allegations against the city that have been raised at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. Moya says her team inherited a dysfunctional city. The metro has come under scrutiny at the Commission following claims of tender rigging and political collusion. Amongst the allegations is a tender linked to the city's current deputy mayor and ANC regional leader Eugene Modise, which was flagged multiple times for irregularities. Alpha Ramashwana has more.
The Madlanga Commission of Inquiry recently heard that 2 bid evaluation committees recommended that a tender awarded to a company linked to Tshwane's deputy mayor Eugene Modise be cancelled due to irregularities. The 2.9 billion rand irregular tender was awarded to 22 companies in 2022, one of which was owned by Modise to guard crucial municipal infrastructure. While her deputy faces an internal investigation, Tshwane Mayor Nasipi Moya says her administration, which took over from the DA and Action SA coalition, inherited the mess.
We state categorically that these problems were inherited, but ignoring them was never an option for this multi-party coalition government.
Meanwhile, Action SA councillor and Tshwane MMC for Corporate and Shared Services, Kolofelo Murodi, was recently suspended following allegations of tender fraud. It's alleged that she was involved in the manipulation of a security tender. Alpha Ramshwana, Eyewitness News in Tshwane.
The Independent Police Investigative Directorate is probing a shootout in Khayelitsha, which has left 4 suspects dead. Police say the suspects are alleged extortionists operating in the area. Western Cape Police say officers were following up on information about the suspects involved in the extortion of businesses when they spotted the suspects in a car last night. Police say the suspects then pulled out their firearms and a shootout ensued. Police spokesperson Novella Botelwa.
They pulled over a vehicle fitting the description specified in their information. The suspects pointed the police with the firearms, and as a consequence, 4 yet-to-be-identified men were shot and killed. 3 firearms were seized from the scene.
The assault case against Action SA's Ekurhuleni mayoral candidate Xolani Khumalo is expected to go on trial in the Palm Ridge Magistrates Court from today. Khumalo handed himself over to police in January in connection with an assault charge opened against him. He maintains the case is part of a smear campaign over his fight against drugs. Nkosikhona Malingamnisi reports.
Xolani Khumalo was part of a drug bust when the alleged assault took place last year. Action SA is adamant that the matter is an attempt to intimidate the popular TV host turned politician. The party's national chairperson Michael Beaumont has previously stated that they're fully behind Khumalo.
We are proud of Xolani because he is not a man who fears accountability. He heard rumors about this arrest and he presented himself to the police and said, I welcome accountability, because people who don't break the law, they welcome accountability in our country.
Khumalo, who also faces a charge of pointing a firearm, stands accused alongside the chairperson of Gauteng's anti-crime units, Duma Khatebe. Nkosikhona Malingamnisi, Eyewitness News.
And in Nepal, an investigation looking into a deadly uprising last year has recommended the prosecution of ex-Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli. At least 77 people were killed in the anti-corruption youth uprising in September last year. The protests began over a brief social media ban, but then turned into demonstrations over the harsh economic conditions. According to a leaked report published in local media, the former Interior Minister, as well as the former police chief, should also be investigated and prosecuted. Victims have been demanding that the report's findings be released after it was submitted this month. Gold is trading at $4,454.38 an ounce. The rand is at 17.03 to the dollar, 22.74 to the pound, 19.65 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $104.25 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got heavy traffic volumes on the N12 and the R24 West. This is between Edenville Road and the Giluli's interchange. That's also queuing traffic on the N3 North between Van Buren Road and the Giluli's turn off. That's due to roadworks.
A partly cloudy Thursday in store for Gauteng today with afternoon showers expected. Temperatures will peak at highs of between 28 and 30 degrees. The top story in EWN, Acting Police Minister Feroz Kachalia has confirmed he has spoken briefly with the President about the matter involving National Police Commissioner Fani Masemola.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
You're with Clement Manyathela
On 702.
Let's Walk the Talk, streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856.
92.7 and 106 FM.
6 minutes after 10 o'clock, Dumelang. Welcome to the second hour of the Clement Manyathela Show. Thank you for staying with us here on 702. And thank you once again for your contributions on the 702 open line. I really always appreciate that. We start our conversation now with the leader of the EFF, Julius Malema.
702.
The Clement Manyathela Show.
Let's walk the talk.
Mr. Malema, welcome back to 702.
Thank you.
Our listeners have missed you so much. You haven't been around in a number of years.
No, it's understandable.
We're happy to have you here.
Thank
you
I'm
for
happy to
coming
be here.
through.
Thank you.
And remember, if you want to watch this conversation, you can just check out our YouTube channel because we're streaming it live. So just go to the 702 YouTube page. If you want to follow this conversation, listen and watch at the same time. Mr. Malema, I want us to start with, of course, what's currently happening.
Yeah.
We have a situation where the SAPS National Police Commissioner is due to appear in court. We're told the police minister confirmed on my show not so long ago that he's going to be charged with violating the Public Finance Management Act. What do you think of what's currently playing out now?
Well, I think that where there was wrongdoing, police must act. If there are no ulterior motives, no one should be above the law, irrespective of the position you hold. And whatever is happening, it will never have an impact on the Madlanga Commission or the ad hoc committee and so on and so forth. There is no way we can say the law must not take its course because there are these other processes that are are happening. If these processes are showing us some information police were not exposed to, and now they know they should act. It doesn't matter who the person is. We are all innocent until proven guilty. And if he is innocent, he will be able to exonerate himself at the court of law.
Yeah, there are a number of political parties that are not now calling for him to be placed on precautionary suspension. Is that something you would support as the EFF?
Well, it is the law. Once the police commissioner is charged before the court, it is expected that you are put on a suspension, but it's not an expulsion. I mean, once issues are canvassed and things are in order, he will be able to return to his position.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Generally speaking, though, around issues of the SAPS, we've got 12 officers, top cops, who appeared yesterday. I mean, we have the head of intelligence that was charged. We have now the National Police Commissioner who's about to be charged. The Deputy National Police Commissioner for Crime Detection is suspended. The Gauteng head of the organized crime is suspended. Head of the Hawks in KZN is suspended. It really looks like this is an SAPS in disarray. Do you think this speaks to the factions in the police? Do you believe those exist?
No. There are no factions. Mkhwanazi exposed some of the rot which is happening in the police, and this is just coming out. And we should appreciate the fact that this thing is coming out, because to factionalize it is to suggest that certain people are being accused of non-existing things, and me and you are not in a position to can pass such a judgment. I don't think every time a person is arrested we should be alarmed, because people get arrested when there is some prima facie evidence, and that warrant of arrest is ordinarily given by either the magistrate or the judge, depending on the seriousness of the charges. And there should be bona fides that are given to law enforcement. But I don't think there is any factionalism. I think there was a group of people who thought they were untouchable. People who were doing things as they wish, and they thought they were above the law. I mean, let's take Sibiya's case, for instance, and Sintumule's case. They buy fridges and to award good performing police officers in the 9 provinces. And Matlala sponsors them with 10 fridges. They give 9 to police officers and give Sibiya the remaining fridge. So once a person starts stealing even such smallest things, you must know they've been doing big things, and they've been behaving like no one can touch them. And now things are coming out. If you can steal a fridge at that level, not stealing as in you went to steal it, they say, no, it was the remaining one. He was a good police officer, senior, and then we gave him a fridge. He, out of his own conscience, he should have said, they are more deserving police on the ground. Let's identify one and give this fridge to that person. But that is a demonstration of to what extent is the rot in the South African police services.
Yeah, and speaking of General Mkhwanazi, have you buried the hatchet with him? I know you were unhappy about what he said about your relations with General Khan. What exactly were you unhappy about regarding the statement he made?
You know, Mkhwanazi, firstly, he's very sensitive. He thinks he can't be criticized, or anyone must say anything good about any other police officer except himself. And that has got nothing to do with what he has presented. I will deal with those facts when it comes to the ad hoc committee. I'll participate objectively, and that's me. I don't care about who thinks what about me. I deal with the truth. He goes to Madlanga Commission. He speaks about General Khan. And he says to Madlanga Commission, you remember General Khan is that one who attended a dinner of the EFF. He just throws the EFF into the space where it's not necessary. General Khan he doesn't need a definition of the EFF. It's General Khan who's employed in SAPS, and this is his level. He says he exonerated him because he's a good police officer. If anything, the police should have given Khan an award for doing what he did when he stopped some corrupt police from stealing drugs. Then he goes to the ad hoc committee. He speaks very badly of me, and I'm not there. I'm mourning. I've got a funeral at home. I've taken leave of absence to go and attend to the funeral at home. I'm not at the ad hoc committee. He says the things about me which he didn't say when I was there. He says, yeah, some of you MPs here, because that's how he speaks. He speaks us in a very condescending manner, like he's some boss of ours. We will not be pushed around by a police officer. We have not broken the law. The only time a police officer must do that to us is when we have broken the law. Some of you here are praising Sintumule, that Sintumule can be a national commissioner. She can be. She's highly qualified. And I never said she must be. I said, look at your credentials. They get destroyed by a spur of a moment because you interacted with a criminal. And all of that work you did in the police gets destroyed. But if we're to look for a female a national commissioner, you stand a very good chance, but you messed it up by entangling yourself with criminals. That I spoke good about Sintumule, and that Sintumule can be a national commissioner and not him. That is an offense. Because if you don't speak about him as a national commissioner, he takes offense about that. And he says, yeah, Malema, who is known, Khan who's very known to Julius Malema and all of that. But he doesn't tell how, and he says, I met Malema through Khan. He doesn't tell how he met me. He called, I went, and if we had the media with research capacity in South Africa, you should be playing that clip. I went to a rally in KZN. I criticized him about AKA's matter. I said, Mkhwanazi, before he did this July thing, our favorite provincial commissioner, I love him so much, but I'm beginning to have doubts because he's not making a move on AKA's case, where a killer kills such a high-profile person in front of a camera, and we can't find that person. That makes mockery of the whole policing system in South Africa. Sensitive Mkhwanazi couldn't take that criticism. He called Khan and asked for a meeting with me. And Khan called me. Khan is well known. Khan is a comrade, well known to me. I knew him from the ANC time. In as much as I know so many of all of them, I'm not an arrivalist in the national politics. I know a lot of people. Khan says, no, there is this guy who is asking to see you. And then I said, okay, that's fine. If you are comfortable and you know him, you can come and we meet. He comes with Khan. Viane Pambu was there. Viane received them into the meeting. And that's when he gave me a brief about AK's case. And said the guys are arrested. But they're not arrested because of AKA's case. They are arrested about something else. I'm just at the tail end of finishing the evidence on AKA's matter. Then I'm going to charge them with AKA's matter. But I would not reveal it. Because if I reveal it, Begicele is going to tamper with this evidence and mess up this case.
So just
of AKA.
To clarify then, he's the one that contacted Khan. Because I listened to that clip again this morning. The suggestion he makes is, Khan, for some reason, you asked Khan then to arrange a meeting with him. And he said in that clip, we didn't need Khan to arrange this meeting. You could have just contacted him directly.
I didn't want anything. I called him for a meeting for what? I didn't want anything from him. What did he? When I called him, he must say I called Khan to call him because of what? You know, I once said in a press conference, General Masemola can't send an email. He can't type. He has got no capacity. He can't send an email. I was told by Mkhwanazi in that meeting that Masemola can't write an email. Yeah, he told me that in that meeting. You can ask Khan about it. You can ask Viane about it. And that's when I was confident to say it in public because it came from a credible corp that the national commissioner doesn't know how to send an email, and he has surrounded himself with female generals because he's scared of male generals who are going to challenge him because he's got no capacity. And I said that. I repeated that in public in confidence because I was told by him.
There are people who've characterized your criticism of Mkhwanazi as an attack. I even saw Mbuyiseni Ndlonzi tweeting that, you know, Mkhwanazi must be shielded from all petty, egotistical, pompous and parasitic attacks. You don't think that was an attack, do you?
No. That's why I'm repeating it. Anyone can hold any view, any short syndrome man's view on this matter. I don't care. I've got my own views and I speak facts. He must never, Mkhwanazi, use EFF or Julius Malema or CIC as a swear word to General Khan. If he wants to insult Khan, he says, EFF, Malema, dinner of EFF. What is that? Has got to do with anything. We've never done anything to the guy. He's just attacking us. And you expect us to fold our arms? He says, I met Malema through Khan, suggesting some impropriety. And he lives there. He leaves the sentence there. So once you don't tell the full truth, it amounts to a lie. You're lying. Why are you hiding that you called Khan and you spoke very bad about your minister to me? And you spoke very bad about your national commissioner to me. He must know, Mkhwanazi, I'm not scared of a policeman. I've never provoked him. I've never said anything. But he must stop dragging my name. And people say, Malema is saying all of these things because he's got anything to hide. Why would I say that if I've got anything to hide to such powerful people who are arresting people willy-nilly? I mean, look at that security guy, Calvin, in KZN. Mkhwanazi goes and litigate with Calvin in court. And then he says, this guy is defaming him and all of that. Rightfully so. Mkhwanazi wins. He doesn't wait a day. He goes and apply for search warrant against Calvin. Himself is involved, directly involved in searching Calvin and all of that. I'm not here. I hold no brief for Calvin. But why would you do that when you know you and this guy have got issues? That's an extreme conflict. You should assign someone and say, look, I received this information. Please deal with it, because if I deal with it, it's going to appear like I'm revenging because I was with this guy just yesterday or in the morning with him in court.
Yeah. You have said through the ad hoc committee, there's been hearings after hearings, allegations after allegations, lots of witnesses who've appeared there. Do you think the work of the committee has helped this country at least understand more about the allegations that General Mkhwanazi made?
Absolutely. We're seeing arrests now. We're seeing prosecutions. Masamula made one point when he was there, is that since Mkhwanazi spoke, we've seen people being prosecuted in Johannesburg, in Gauteng. People who are not being prosecuted and all of that. So all of this helped to get us somewhere. We might not be where we want to be, and we have not finalized our report. Clement, this thing is very simple. You make an allegation, you bring proof. You are not God, you are not Jesus Christ. That it comes from you is truth, even if it's not being backed by anything. That's what other committees got to be seized with. It doesn't matter whether I hate Senzo Mkhunu or not. I have to deal with the facts. Did he violate the Constitution? Did he go beyond his executive mandate? And if I say so, what am I basing that on legally? Not for political expediency, that he comes from the ANC, I come from the EFF, and therefore I must project the ANC person in a negative light, even when there are no facts. That's not me. I deal with facts before me. And even Mkhwanazi, when I go to that committee, whatever he said, we'll deal with it correctly. Let me give you an example. Mkhwanazi says, Sintumulo is very manipulative. He's a trained intelligence. He must not be trusted. I saw him here saying things and all of that. He must not be trusted. Then he comes back. He says Sintumule, in a police jet, told Masemola and Begikele that Sibiya said they must no longer intervene in their matter between him and Sibiya because the CIC of the EFF is going to intervene. As a result, Kele and Masemola pulled out. Now, because now Sintumule is not saying anything negative about him, Sintumule must be believed that Sintumule was correct. But let me tell you, Sibiya never called me to intervene between him and Mkhwanazi. I actually got to know about that when this thing started, that these people have got issues that I didn't know about. But I must tell you, had Sibiya approached me and say there is a fight between me and this general, and I think you are the credible person who can intervene, I was going to do it because I'm not doing crime. Two black African generals are fighting, and they think Julius Malema can mediate to bring us together. I will do that.
How close is your relationship with General Sibiya?
I don't have any relationship with Sibiya. You know, Sibiya started talking to him when they kidnapped A.B. Dikhale's wife and the child. And I know A.B. Dikhale. The matter was not going anywhere. And then I called General Sibiya because I know him from Johannesburg City Council. So I called him about that matter, that A.B. has been trying everywhere. Nothing is happening. It's a head of detectives. So I called a relevant person. And he said, no, we'll deal with it. We'll attend to it. That's it. And then second time I called Sibiya is when Jerry Bushoka's mother called me. She still calls me till today. Even on my birthday, she wished me a happy birthday because she's very happy that even if there is no progress, but there seems to be someone who's following up on my child's matter. Why am I doing that? I'm a public representative. I'm a member of parliament. I'm a leader of a political party. When people bring issues to me, I will send them to relevant authorities. I didn't appoint Sibiya as a general of a head of detectives. They said Sibiya is a general head of detectives, meaning if we have any issue with the police, this man is one of the credible people in South Africa. I dealt with him under that context, not because I've got any criminality or any dealings with Sibiya. I don't have anything with Sibiya or anyone. The person I know that we eat from the same plate, we drink from the same cup, is Castle Matal, the Deputy Minister of Police. But when we're together, we don't speak about police, we don't speak about ANC, we don't speak about EFF. We never engage on issues that have got potential to make us have different views. We are family members. We belong to the same family of Bashabi. And that we found out when we're in a struggle. So our relationship then went beyond issues of politics. But I knew Begitele. I still know Begitele. I still speak with Begitele. But it has nothing to do with what I'm doing in Parliament. And the line of questioning there in Parliament, you could see that my relationship with him has got nothing to do with our, I can't say friendship, but me and him are very cordial. And we're in the ANC together. I know this comrade. But I've got no dealings with him. I've got nothing to do with Begitele. I'm just mentioning these names because they are in the police, as it were.
26 minutes after 10 o'clock.
Let's hear from Dr. Armand, owner of Monument Dental, why it pays to switch to OUTsurance Business Insurance.
It was one call and I was covered immediately. We are very happy with the premium we're paying. I wish I did it sooner.
For dentistries, general medical practices and all other businesses, get a quote today and see why it pays to switch to OUTsurance Business Insurance. Visit outsurance.co.za or call 08600 60,000 today. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
Can you shoot to the top? Hollywood Bets invites you to jump in for an adrenaline-pumping spinning adventure with the Spinner Zonke Tournament of Champions. You stand a chance to win a share of an epic 500,000 Rand in cash in a thrilling battle for riches. Rise to the challenge and bet 2 Rand or more on selected slots to climb the leaderboard. Ready to go for gold? Your action adventure starts here. Bet now.
T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counselling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp HELP to 076 675 0710.
How's it, Doff? How's it, Savvy? Why are you sitting in your driveway all by your lonesome, Doff? Selling my car, Sav. I don't trust the internet. I like to wheel and deal my own wheels. That's how you make way more, Sav. Okay, so where's your car now, Doff? Potential buyers took it for a test drive. When did they take it for a test drive, Doff? 3 days ago. Should have sold it to We Buy Cars, Doff. Yeah, Savvy.
Don't be Doff, be savvy. We Buy Cars, geared for a fast, safe sale, geared for you.
When you're running a small business, you need someone who speaks your language, who understands when you talk innovation, growth, scaling. Someone like MTN Business and 702. The 702 MTN Small Business Awards, from the townships to the suburbs and everywhere in between. We want to talk about you and your business. Go to primemediaplus.com to enter your business or nominate one you know. Because once we start talking about where you are now, you'll be well on your way to reaching your next. The 702 MTN Small Business Awards. Let's talk shop. T's, C's and more on primemediaplus.com.
The Dialogue with Clement Manyathela.
It's not just another roundtable discussion.
Let's walk the talk on 702.
28 minutes after 10 o'clock, Julius Malema in conversation with us this morning. And I want to wrap up the issues around the ad hoc committee now, Mr. Malema. From what we've heard so far, do you think the taxi industry is somehow involved in the criminal cartels that's been testified about? Because some witnesses at the Madlanga Commission said the cartel was headed by the late taxi boss, King Mswazi Msibi. In fact, one of the detectives called him the cartel's president. From what you've heard, the evidence you've heard, are you convinced there's a link?
Well, I know Msibi very well. Msibi is the founder of Santaco. You know, Santaco is what brought all the taxi associations together. And then they formed Santaco. So he formed some Santaco. I think amongst other people would have been Manda. Now I'm forgetting his surname. It's a big surname in KZN in the taxis. So Manda Kabaya. So we were not. Our terms of reference was not to investigate whether there is a taxi, a cartel that has captured the criminal justice system. Our terms of reference is that we're looking for drug cartel called the Big Five or something five cartel. That drug cartel has captured the criminal justice system, including private individuals who have control over the criminal justice system. That's why in our dealings, we never called anyone from taxi association to come. Otherwise, we would have said to Joseph, come. I want to understand what role are you playing, guys, in the criminal justice system or anything of that sort. So in the ad hoc committee, there was nothing fundamentally that suggested that a taxi industry, as an industry, captured the criminal justice system, and as a result ran the criminal justice system. For instance, when they said that white arrogant man, I'm forgetting his name now, infiltrated IP, Paulo Sullivan, we called him. It's an individual. We called him. So had they said this or that person in the taxi industry, they are using the taxi industry to influence the criminal justice system, we'll call them. I mean, one of the big fight I had with my brother as Kosana, we kept on saying, no, even judges are involved. I said, don't generalize. If there is a judge who is involved in undermining the criminal justice system, mention the name and give us reasons why you're saying so. As long as you establish the prima facie, there's no judge we're scared to call. That name has never come through. We're told National Prosecuting Authority is captured. Who of the prosecutors came before the ad hoc committee? It was like we're investigating SAPS, and SAPS is not the criminal justice system. Criminal justice system includes correctional service, the judiciary, the National Prosecuting Authority, and the police, and so on and so forth. The people who were at the center of this investigation were the police. And police are not a criminal justice system. So we have never been told of anyone, including Msibi, except when Begitkel was asked whether he knows Msibi. He said, yes, I know Msibi. I spoke at this funeral. Julius was there. He spoke at this funeral. Mbalula spoke at this funeral.
But you only know him as the president of Santaco. You've never really been to his
family. No, not as president of...
no, the founder.
Yeah, Santaco. I know him as a taxi boss.
Have you been to his farm?
Yes, I've been. I've been to his wedding. I've been to the white wedding, the traditional wedding. I've been to his funeral. And in every place where I've been, I've never been underground. It has been public. I mean, I'm a noticeable figure with a huge presence. So I can't be there. Nobody sees that I'm there.
Are you surprised now then by the allegations that are coming out against him?
I will not be surprised. If you know taxi people, there are sort of allegations against them that they're involved in this and that, amongst other things, the killing. But I was not going to know a boss, a taxi boss, because I deal with those people. I transport people to my EFF rallies. And those people of taxis own buses, by the way. You need buses. Those are the people you have to talk to. And it is only natural that I have to know them. I know Julius Malema. I've been to his events. Do I do anything criminal with them? No. They are taxi bosses. And if a leader of this country is going to be successful in leading this country, you have to know the ecosystem of this country. And that's what I did. I've got nothing. And even when I spoke at Mswati's funeral, I said, you know, whatever you can think about me and this man, I've never done business with this man. The only thing I did with him was to engage in robust debate because he was very argumentative. And every time we meet, we argue about this or that.
Okay, it's 10:34. Let's get the latest in Eyewitness News headlines. When we come back, we'll talk Phala, because remember that judgment is still somehow hanging in the Constitutional Court. We'll also discuss local government. Mbali, good morning.
Thanks, Clement. Good morning. Acting Police Minister Feroz Kachalia has confirmed he has spoken briefly with the President over the matter involving National Police Commissioner Fani Masemola. Kachalia says the meeting with President Cyril Ramaphosa already took place yesterday. It came after Masemola was served with a summons to appear in court next month. Tshwane Mayor Nasipi Moya has distanced her administration from corruption allegations against the city raised at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. Moya says her team inherited a dysfunctional city. Amongst the allegations is a tender linked to the city's current deputy mayor and ANC regional leader Eugene Modise, which was flagged multiple times for irregularities. While in the Philippines, parts of the capital Manila have been brought to a standstill due to a protest by transport workers. Hundreds of workers are striking over rising fuel costs in that country. Diesel and petrol prices have more than doubled since the war in the Middle East broke out last month. Well, those are the headlines. This EWN and more at 11 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Let's start off in the city of Tshwane with queuing traffic on the N1 South. That's due to an earlier accident that happened on the opposite side of the road. Queuing traffic between Rigel Avenue and the Flying Saucer interchange. If you were traveling just after the R21 on the Flying Saucer, do expect delays due to roadworks there. And then heading towards Sunning Hill, queuing traffic on the N1 South. That's between Allendale Road and the Baklu turnoff. That's due to an accident there. Please be on the lookout. If you want to avoid this one, please try to use the R21 South instead. If you are traveling in the Bedfordview area, queuing traffic on the N3 North between Van Buren Road and the Kilulis interchange. There's also queuing traffic on the R24 West. Roadworks are causing these delays between Edenville Road and the Kilulis interchange. We also have got queuing traffic in Amalgam along the M2 West. That's between the Crown interchange and Main Reef Road. More updates at the top of the hour. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
One of the best things about WeWork is the freedom to move. Get 24/7 access to flexible workplaces across 66 countries, plus the choice to expand when your business scales. Access meeting rooms, social events, all-day coffee, and a community that makes the work matter. With a WeWork all-access membership, you are clocking into a global ecosystem with over 2,000 locations worldwide. Sign up for a private office before the 30th of April and get 1 month free access. T's and C's apply. Visit wework.co.za.
What do you consider amazing? At Lexus, we believe it's experiencing next, now. The Lexus NX elevates every journey with confidence, sophistication. Built for ambitious drivers, modern lifestyles, and families with tomorrow in mind. From its striking design to its efficient hybrid performance, this premium SUV delivers what's next, today. Book a test drive at your nearest Lexus dealership, because next is now. Lexus. Experience amazing. T's and C's apply.
Business in this economy. But day by day, somehow it grew. You kept going when the freezer didn't freeze, the bucket didn't budge, and the bank balance barely blinked. So you thought you were building a business. You weren't. It was building you. Because this isn't just what you do anymore, it's who you are. And you don't trust just anybody to protect it. Chat to your broker about Old Mutual Insure Business Insurance. Protect what built you. Old Mutual Insure Limited is a licensed FSP and non-life insurer.
The Money Show. Weekday evenings at 6.
Are you seeing much demand from electric cars for your service on national roads at the moment?
Absolutely. We've had our first charging station, and these are completely off-grid, completely powered by renewable energy, up and running now for 14 months. That was a technical proof of concept. We're now constructing 2 that will go live. That'll unlock the M3 for any EV driver. They're 200 kilometers, so even a plug-in hybrid can jump those.
Jabir Rook, the co-founder and chair of Charge.
The Money Show on 702. Let's walk the talk.
The Money Show with Stephen Curtis is brought to you by Absa Islamic Business Bank, celebrating 20 years of banking that honors your values. Your story matters. Absa is a registered FSP.
The Dialogue with Clement Manyathela.
It's not just another roundtable discussion.
Let's walk the talk on 702.
It's going up to 20 minutes before 11 o'clock. We continue with our conversation with the leader of the EFF, Julius Malema. I see your WhatsApps coming on 072-702-1702. I'll get to them in a moment. Your calls as well on 011-883-0702. Mr. Malema, let's talk about local government for a bit. What's the strategy around coalitions in Gauteng? I mean, you've been back and forth with Ekurhuleni for a while now. What's going on there?
Well, it is the nature of coalitions. Once you've got coalition governments and someone wants to be arrogant as if they've won power, then that leads to the collapse of the coalition. So, for instance, let's take the coalition in Tshwane. There's no one who's arrogant there. Herman's person is a mayor of Tshwane. Always readily available to talk and negotiate about this or that issue. But you've got a mayor in Ekurhuleni who thinks that it's 1997 where the ANC won 75% or something because he lacks that intelligence. And then you've got Panyaza, who is in a minority government, who understands very well that I have to talk to everyone and try to incorporate everybody's idea into my speech, into my budget, into my planning, because I've not won elections. And in Johannesburg, we've been very stable because the mayor has been engaging with the leadership of the EFF at that level, and with the new leadership of the ANC in Johannesburg, things are even much more easier. There is some sense of direction of where we are going now because there was uncertainty of the conference and so on and so forth. So we're more than fine in Johannesburg. The reason why we didn't vote for the budget last time, it was to protest the issue of Ekurhuleni, where our 4 MMCs gets removed, Dunga gets removed without consultation. And then the position of speaker belongs to the EFF. Remember, you agree, EFF takes speaker. And then we can get our speaker to go to the legislature so that Dunga can be a speaker. You take away from the speaker, we take that position from the EFF, and you give it to AIC. Today, now, at 10 o'clock, they must vote for a budget in the provincial government. They must go and call AIC to come and vote for them because they've removed the EFF for AIC.
The mayor of Ekurhuleni, when I interviewed him, he said Ndunga was removed for non-performance. And he was complaining that the provincial government and the ANC at national level often wants to put pressure on him, even when he says he can see that some of the EFF MPs like Ndunga were non-performing.
No, Ndunga was one of the best. I mean, the good thing with MMC of Finance is numbers. Numbers speak for themselves. Service providers are not being paid in Ekurhuleni. During Dunga's time, he called all of them with the historic debt, put them in a hall, set up the finance staff. Each and every one of them had to go and explain why he's not being paid. And if the stories did not make sense, these people are deserving to be paid. They were paid. The finances of that institution were in good condition, and they were still winning awards for Dunga's term, even when Dunga was gone. So he absolutely doesn't know what to talk about, because Dunga is not a ball boy. He's not going to push around Dunga and think that Dunga is a member of the ANC. He's got a problem with Dunga. You talk to the EFF, because it is the EFF that gave you Dunga. The ANC, they said they want a mayor. We gave them a mayor. We didn't give them a name. Even this Danda head of theirs in Ikuruleni, with all his shenanigans, we can only say remove this person. But once they remove that person, we can't say put Soren. So we can't dictate to the ANC as to who they must put. He's got no authority, none whatsoever, to dictate to the EFF who the EFF must put. He must know that the ANC is going to be in serious crisis, not only in Ikuruleni, everywhere else, because of him. And the ANC must make him to carry that responsibility alone, and him alone. There's no way where EFF has been arrogant about anything in the coalition government, because we know we have to work in the best interest of our people. But you must not forget, we're in politics here. If we're being delegitimized and being violated and being made irrelevant, there's no way we're not going to fight back.
Yeah. Well, one of the questions the listeners said I must, because when I told them you're coming on the show, and I saw one question that came out a lot was, of course, regarding the allegations that came out at the Madlanga Commission about whether or not you as the EFF are involved in contracts in these metros where you are involved in coalitions. Can you state categorically that you don't use your MMCs as the EFF to try and get access to tenders or give tenders to specific companies that are linked to the organization?
We don't do that, but also, Clement, nothing like that came out of Madlanga. There's nothing like that. They said the deputy chief of police got 7 companies, and then he gave them to
CFO.
To that
Sergeant
Nkosi. Then he asked Nkosi, please ask the CFO if these are legitimate companies from the EFF. They never said the companies were from. Someone gave them the list, and they wanted to authenticate whether that is from the EFF. They never said there was any authentication by the EFF that this is their list. So there is no such allegation that the EFF gave them a list. The EFF doesn't get involved in tenders. The EFF doesn't give anyone a list and say, do the following. We don't know the CFO. We don't know the deputy chief of police. We don't know Nkosi. They are all employed by governments in those municipalities. We never employed any CFO. We never employed any deputy chief of police. We never employed Nkosi to an extent that we can give them a list and say, this is the list of the EFF. That is a complete lie. They must tell you who gave them a list. They were still coming to verify the list with me. And I'm still waiting for them to come to me and ask me, is this an EFF list? I'll ask them for the minutes where such a decision was taken to send such name.
Will you support calls for an investigation into the CFO there in Tshwane as the EFF in council?
Yeah, an investigation is more than welcome, but the list doesn't come from the CFO. The list comes from the deputy chief of police, asking Nkosi to ask the CFO to investigate the EFF.
Yeah, I'm asking
if there's any wrongdoing of the CFO, investigate him. He's not an EFF member. He's not an EFF deployee. We have no reason. We have no any hold over him. And if there's any action, they can take any action. Actually, the MMC, Ubakeng, was telling me that they had a meeting of ESCO or whatever they call it, which took a decision to take action against the CFO.
Okay.
And then we said we support that. There's no problem at all.
What's happening in KwaZulu-Natal? The MK party the other day was telling me that them, together with you, wanted to meet with the ANC because you're trying to see if you can form a coalition there. once you said MK Party was enemy number one, but you've indicated that in areas where we agree we can work with each other. Is this that area where you think you can work with the MK Party in KZN?
Absolutely. Anything that makes us remove the DA, we'll come together and remove it. Because we don't want the DA. We want a government that is going to deliver services to the majority of our people. The DA is not about the people. It's about the property owners and defending the property rights. And we know who are the property owners. That's what they're concerned about. They are not concerned about changing the property ownership patterns in South Africa. And the MK won majority votes. In KZN, it was not voted by EFF. The EFF has got only 2 seats. If we come together with NFP, we only need one, just one, from any of those parties. We constitute a government that is based on the will of the people of KZN. Whether the MKP has got capacity or not, is for me and you to do political commentary. But the people have chosen, and people are governed by the leaders they deserve. They said they deserve MKP. Give them MKP. Why are you denying them MKP? That's
Do you
what
think
they
they have
deserve.
capacity though?
I don't think they've got capacity. But the good thing with government is that it has got systems. It's not like this MK where they change people and do willy-nilly things. In government, you do a wrong thing. It doesn't matter whether you are MK or not. You'll get arrested. Yes, so they are going to go in there. They are professional civil servants who are going to be working with them to make sure that they run a proper government to deliver services to our people.
It's 10 minutes before 11 o'clock. After the break, I go to your calls. 011-883-0702. Be quick and sharp. Your WhatsApps as well on 072-702-1702.
When you train for results, you don't quit halfway. Earn up to 7.35% interest with a Nedbank Just Invest account. Access your money within 24 hours. Keep your money agile. Get money fit with Nedbank. See money differently. Nedbank. For more information, visit nedbank.co.za. We're licensed FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
Heard of a house that's Kong? Don't let yours be the next because of low-grade materials. Shop at Cash Build, where you'll find trusted quality building materials at the lowest prices every single time. Plus, until 30 April, when you spend 250 Rand or more in store at Cash Build, you stand a chance to win airtime, cash, and product prizes. Tantama chance with Cash Build when you shop for quality building materials you can rely on. Inquire with our friendly staff in store on how to enter our Easter competitions. Cash Build.
Zakes owns an electrical business that lit up the neighborhood. Literally. One small spark, one big legal nightmare. But he has public liability insurance from Budget. The damage was covered and his clients sorted. Sharp. To get public liability cover, visit budgetinsurance.co.za. Budget Insurance, official insurer for good South Africans. Budget is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's and C's online.
Small business owners speak a language of their own, and it's language MTN Business and 702 understand very well. That's why we're celebrating SMEs who walk the entrepreneurial talk in the 702 MTN Small Business Awards. From townships to suburbs and everywhere in between, small businesses are proving that big things can grow from bold ideas. If that sounds like your business or one you know, go to primemediaplus.com to enter or nominate them, because once we start talking about your business, who knows how much further it could go. The 702 MTN Small Business Awards. Let's talk shop. T's and C's apply.
The Dialogue with Clement Manyathela.
It's not just another roundtable discussion.
Let's walk the talk on 702.
8 minutes before 11 o'clock. Straight to your WhatsApp voice note.
To lose confidence in all these political parties. What would the CIC do should we vote for him in his 100 days of office? What would he change? I believe as well that Joburg needs to be governed by the youth. I would like to ask if there is anyone in mind that the CIC would put as a mayoral candidate as yet, and who is that person? CIC, I've been watching the members of the EFF here on the ground. I don't understand why aren't you professionalizing leadership from what level? because indeed, I'm sure you know that the EFF is losing grip on ground level because of that, because of leaders that are just, out of place. Khozo from Naledi.
Thank you for your questions, Khotso.
Yeah, well, I think I agree fully with the first caller that Johannesburg needs a young man, needs an energetic person, and needs a very, aggressive person who's going to change, especially the inner city. We've allowed a situation where the city has deteriorated, but we cannot put mayors before we put manifestos. We have to put a manifesto so that when we come to you, Clement, and say, can you be an EFF mayoral candidate? You should have read what is expected from you and say, no, I think I can do this job. We can't put you first and give you a manifesto after. So once the manifesto has been launched, mayoral candidates are going to be announced in all metros, including strategic municipalities in other provinces.
Okay. The issue about professionalizing the leadership of the EFF on the ground?
That's what we're doing. Actually, we're going to issue out the guidelines on who could constitute a candidate, what candidate, a mayor, and all of that. We're putting more emphasis on a personal development where people should have the basic necessity like matric, should be professionals, be reputable people, respectable people, pastors, traditional leaders, and things of that sort. But that will be issued, and I think we're going to have a meeting after this, and then tomorrow, CCT, then from there we'll publish.
Do you agree with him, though, that there are weaknesses on the ground when it comes to the leadership of the EFF?
Well, the EFF is a new organization. It's still trying to find its feet. It's turning 13 years, and we've done wonders. And by all indicators, the EFF is demonstrating that it is growing. By professionalizing EFF, I hope the caller doesn't suggest we must make EFF an elitist organization. It is a mass movement, and we know what constitutes the masses, and they must always find an expression in the EFF while we're balancing it with the level of professionalism.
Morning, Clement and CIC. Can CIC please maybe elaborate or canvass the issue of Metsimaholo with regards to the people who have been removed from their positions and ultimately got their membership terminated, such as Selwani and April and others as well. I'm highlighting those two because they were seen to be very, very prominent in the regime. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, Selwan and April were always engaged in permanent fights in Metsimaholo, a municipality where the EFF hold very serious potential to win it. And they've always projected themselves to be bigger than the organization. And the organization had to take action, and they were in a much, much more better position now.
Morning, Clement. How are you? I hope you're well. Morning to CIC as well. So what I would like to know, Clement, is what is CIC's views about the visit of the President Jacob Zuma at the time of the aunt's funeral, and the views of the president about coming together as black forces and approaching or confronting the white monopoly and white capitalism, things like that. What is his views about that? And yes, that's what I would.
The visit of President Zuma to my family is highly appreciated. That as Africans, when someone is bereaved and is a colleague, is a comrade you have worked with, there's nothing wrong stopping you to go and attend that funeral. I mean, Dalimpofu was there. I buried Dalimpofu's mom. I spoke at Dalimpofu's mom. And it is only human, is African. And President Zuma never said we must come together as one. He said, with our different political formations, when it comes to issues of black people and Africans in particular, for us to survive this exploitation and oppression of black people from time to time when issues are confronting our people, we need to come together and work to defeat this continuous oppression of black people. He never said collapse MK, collapse EFF, bring everybody together, let's form one party. He said we've got two different political parties, but where the interests are common, we shouldn't hesitate to work together. And we're not confused about that, and we agree wholeheartedly with it. I mean, we fought a lot with President Zuma, but he still saw a need to come and say sorry to the Malema family for what happened.
Yeah.
There are people I buried their parents. They never even sent me a message. I mean, one of them, I went to their family home and they were feeding people a tin fish at the funeral. I had to take a decision there and there to go and buy a cow. And today they insult me during my bereavement.
Is that Dumisani in class?
No. I mean, that will be a level of degeneration. You know, some of them, I took them to circumcision, by the way. I took them literally to hospital to be circumcised. And today they think they can speak to me the way they want. So, and the things we did to President Zuma, and is able to put aside those things and still come together and say, sorry, always when a black person dies, it affects all of us. Is that majority? I mean, not maturity. But I've not done anything to President Zuma except to fight with him. I'm just giving you an example of people I did things for them.
Yeah.
And then they still can say all manner of things. And I look at them, I'm like, before you can take care of any nation, learn to take care of your family first.
By the way, is the door still open for Mbuyiseni to come back if he wants?
Mbuyiseni never resigned. I mean, took a political T-shirt of another political party. And the only thing that stops a person from coming back to the EFF is when you take up a membership or a T-shirt of another political party. So if he comes back to the EFF and you stop him, which laws or constitution, sections of the constitution of the EFF will you be using to stop him?
Mr. Malema, thank you so much for coming back to 702 to engage with us. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
11 o'clock.
From your pet's bowl
Chipolito, bro.
or Barcelona, maybe Bordeaux,
How about Brazil?
or Butts, Betty's, Baviance, Bella Bella, or even Benoni. Buy any Hills pet food and you could win one of 10 holidays worth 200,000 Rand each. Or take the bucks. Scientifically proven formulas for your pet. An adventure for you. Hills Pet Nutrition. Science does more. T's and C's apply.
Whether you're a business owner in retail or in service and repairs, switch to Outsurance Business Insurance today and you could get an out bonus of up to 10% of your paid premiums back.
It definitely pays to switch. I wish we had done it sooner.
Get a quote today and see why it pays to switch to Outsurance Business Insurance. SMS business to 47543. That's business to 47543. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
Gauteng is currently experiencing high water consumption. To avoid water interruptions, residents are urged to use water sparingly to allow equitable supply. Act now, save water. Every drop counts. This message is brought to you by the Department of Water and Sanitation, Rand Water, Gauteng Provincial Government, City of Johannesburg, City of Tshwane, and City of Ekurhuleni.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Bali Dlamini. Acting Police Minister Feroz Kachalia has confirmed he has spoken briefly with the President over the matter involving National Police Commissioner Fani Masemola. Kachalia says the meeting with President Cyril Ramaphosa took place yesterday. It came after Masemola was served with a summons to appear in court next month. This is in connection with his alleged links to the 360 million rand tender awarded to alleged crime kingpin Vusimuzi Matlala. There are growing calls for Masemola's suspension, but Kachalia says he will be providing written suggestions to the President on the course of action that can be taken.
We discussed quite briefly some of the options, and he then instructed me to, I'm going to present to him in writing some reflections on how we should respond to the events yesterday. But of course, this will be the president's decision.
Tshwane Mayor Nasipi Moya has distanced her administration from corruption allegations against the city raised at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. Moya says her team inherited a dysfunctional city. The metro has come under scrutiny at the commission following claims of tender rigging and political collusion. Amongst the allegations is a tender linked to the city's current deputy mayor, Eugene Modise, which was flagged multiple times for irregularities. Alfara Mushwana reports.
The Madlanga Commission of Inquiry recently heard that two bid evaluation committees recommended that a tender awarded to a company linked to Tshwane's deputy mayor, Eugene Modise, be cancelled due to irregularities. The 2.9 billion rand irregular tender was awarded to 22 companies in 2022, one of which was owned by Modise to guard crucial municipal infrastructure. While her deputy faces an internal investigation, Tshwane Mayor Nasipi Moya says her administration, which took over from the DA and Action SA coalition, inherited the mess.
We state categorically that these problems were inherited, but ignoring them was never an option for this multi-party coalition government.
Meanwhile, Action SA councillor and Tshwane MMC for Corporate and Shared Services, Kolofelo Morodi, was recently suspended following allegations of tender fraud. It's alleged that she was involved in the manipulation of a security tender. Alfa Ramshwana, Eyewitness News in Tshwane.
The EFF has taken its complaint over what it says is a delay in a judgment by the Constitutional Court on its Phala case to Chief Justice Mandisa Maya. In a 4-page letter to Maya, party leader Julius Malema says the time taken for the court to rule is creating a perception that the court is not immune to political pressures. The case relates to a decision by the National Assembly in 2022 not to proceed with an impeachment inquiry into President Cyril Ramaphosa's conduct related to storage and theft of US dollars from his Limpopo farm. Lindsay Dentlinger has more.
The EFF first approached the Constitutional Court to review Parliament's decision to reject a Section 89 panel report in February 2024. The case was heard in November of that year. EFF leader Julius Malema says it's now been more than 485 days since the matter was heard, far exceeding judicial norms and becoming one of the court's most delayed judgments. It's now been more than 2 years since the party first approached the court to consider the matter and to submit written arguments. Citing the norms and standards for the performance of judicial functions, Malema points out that, save for exceptional circumstances, every effort should be made to hand down judgments within 3 months of the last hearing. Malema says the court has given no explanation for taking 5 times as long to rule, and this is impacting Parliament's ability to hold the executive accountable. The party is now requesting the court to provide reasons for not yet having produced a judgment and to clarify whether the delay is consistent with judicial norms and standards. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
And in the Philippines, parts of the capital Manila have been brought to a standstill due to a protest by transport workers. Hundreds of workers are striking over rising fuel costs in the country. Diesel and petrol prices have more than doubled since the war in the Middle East broke out last month. The strike comes just days after President Ferdinand Marcos said he was working to secure new sources of oil. The Philippines is currently in a state of national energy emergency. Gold is trading at $4,454.38 an ounce. The rand is at 17.03 to the dollar, 22.74 to the pound, 19.65 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $104.25 a barrel.
And in the traffic in the city of Tshwane, we still have got that accident on the N1 North right near Rigel Avenue is still causing heavy traffic volumes. If you're traveling towards Midrand, do expect delays on the N1 South between Olifantsfontein Road and New Road. There's also queuing traffic reported in Amalgam along the M2 West between the Crown Interchange and Main Reef Road.
A partly cloudy Thursday in store for Gauteng with afternoon showers expected. Temperatures peaking at highs of between 28 and 30 degrees. The top story in EWN, Acting Police Minister Feroz Kachalia has confirmed he has spoken briefly with the President over the matter involving National Police Commissioner Fani Masemola.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
You're with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
Let's Walk the Talk. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856.
92.7 and 106 FM.
Eight minutes after 11 o'clock. Dumisani, welcome to the third and final hour of the Clement Manyathela Show. Thank you for staying with us here on 702. It's time now for our Hanging Out feature.
Hanging Out with Clement
on 702.
Let's Walk the Talk.
And on our Hanging Out feature this morning, and if you've just joined us and you're wondering what's going on, because the Hanging Out feature is normally at 10 o'clock, well, we had to shift things around because we've been planning to bring you the conversation with the EFF leader, Julius Malema, for some time now. In fact, the last time, remember, we had to postpone it because Paulo Sullivan was going to appear in Parliament at the ad hoc committee. So we have been struggling to find and align in terms of diary. So today was an opportunity to slot it in for 10 o'clock. And that's why I moved sort of the Thursday dialogue to 10 o'clock where we host him. And I moved the Hanging Out feature to 11 o'clock. And today on our Hanging Out feature, we've got ANC Parliamentary Chief Whip Dumisani Duli, who has been described by others as a rising star within the African National Congress. And he joins us now in studio as we get to know him better. Du, thank you so much for making time. Welcome to the show. Good morning.
Thank you very much, Clement. Good morning to you and good morning to your listeners, and much appreciated for inviting me.
No, really, really appreciate it. I was saying to you that you are in Joburg quite a lot. Does your work involve a lot of Cape Town based, or you have to come this side at Luthuli House as well, constantly?
Primarily, my work is in Cape Town.
Yeah.
But as you know, I'm the head of elections as well as the chief whip of the ANC. So there has to be a lot of consultation between myself and the headquarters on a variety of issues that are taking place in Parliament, including, for instance, when there are bills that are being considered in Parliament or there are contentious issues before the National Assembly or the National Council of Provinces. It requires me to have a tight coordination with the head office so that whatever positions we take that side are understood and are aligned with the position of the movement.
So you grew up in KwaZulu-Natal?
That's correct.
KwaXimba?
I was born and grew up in KwaZulu-Natal. Actually, I was born in a place called Kwanjobogas. That place is about 45 kilometers away from KwaXimba, on the side of when you go to Estone or Mbumbulu, that side. That's where I was born. And then we relocated to KwaXimba in 1991. And so essentially I grew up in KwaXimba because that is where I completed my primary school, high school, until I went to the university in year 2000.
So at what point then do you get conscientized about what was happening at the time, and to the point where you end up developing some kind of an interest or a commitment to politics and the struggle for freedom?
You see, when we left the place where I was born, it was because of a very heightened violence between the ANC and the IFP. And my family was very much involved in the ANC, not prominent in terms of leadership, but my uncles, including my father, were well known to be people who are mostly associated with the trade union movement because of their involvement at work. And when the ANC and the IFP issues started to show up in our villages where I was born, they were naturally identifying with the African National Congress. And because of a very serious war that happened there, in which we lost some of my uncles, we decided as a family, well, my father and his siblings, they decided that we've got to relocate and go to KwaXimba because KwaXimba was by that time already a highly prominent ANC area under a traditional leadership of Inkosi Msinga Mlaba, who's late now, but he was also a very prominent a traditional leader, but also a well-known member of the African National Congress. So it was easy for us that when there were difficulties where we were, when we relocate, we rather go to a place where we know, where we are going to a place where it's predominantly the African National Congress, and that's what happened.
How devastating was that period? Because often when I speak to people who've grown up in those parts of KZN or even parts of the East Rand where that violence was very much alive, you can tell that they've really lost loved ones because of that violence between the two organizations. Was it as devastating as we often read about?
It was.
About it?
I mean, it was. Clement, I recall very well at times how the war will take place while we're expected to walk to school, because being born, growing up in a rural area, very, very deep rural area of KZN, you go to school barefoot. You just walk to school, and because we're little boys, when they were fighting at that time, this place where I was born, before the politicization of that population, there were what is called faction fights, which is fights between different villages or between areas that are controlled by various traditional leaders. So at that time, there was sort of a particular, I don't know what do I call it, but young people were not being met at. So people will fight. We will know that, you see what was happening there. There was a fight, somebody has died. But life was going on, especially for young people and women, because there was really no target that was directed to young people. And now when the ANC-IFP violence began, because majority of the people who were in the ANC were largely from the youth, that's when we started seeing very strange things now, where the killing will cut across. People will walk into somebody's house wanting to kill a man there. If they don't find him and they find his wife and kids, they are going to shoot randomly, and you have women and kids being killed. So it was very devastating, very problematic. In fact, we grew up, I think those of us who came from that area in particular, we grew up strongly hating the IFP. I mean, to the extent that it was not easy for me until I got into the university to tolerate a conversation between myself and anybody that is prominently known to belong to the IFP, because of that kind of an experience. And I think by the time we got into the university, that's when one was slightly, I would say, awakened, sort of being formed to understand that, yes, there are differences between the ANC and the IFP, but it's not that these things are supposed to be circled through the barrel of the gun. And I think around 96, 97, after the first local government elections, we got a new councillor elected in our ward here in KwaXimba, who served for 15 years after that. He began to really work with us as the youngsters at the time, just to conscientize them about the importance of being active and being the activist within the youth league.
I see. Okay, we've got some of your favorite songs that we're going to play as we get to know you this hour. And I'll also just take some questions from our listeners as well, or some inputs. If you want to chat to Dumisani Duli, or maybe you've got a question for him, you can call us or send us a WhatsApp voice note on 072 702 1702. I'm not surprised to see Ukuzani on your list here. Ngasina okohlanya. Ngisho kahle?
Yeah, ngasina okohlanya.
Oh, ishukti.
It's like dancing like a madman.
Oh.
So when you are dancing the Zulu dance, of course.
Yeah.
In a way that is almost like you are driven by some kind of internal spirit of some sort. So when somebody said ngasina okohlanya, you can literally translate to mean you are like dancing like a madman.
Yeah.
It's the level of passion and commitment to what we are doing.
Why is it your favorite song?
Well, Clement, as I said, I grew up in the rural area and I still live there, by the way. So the orientation, we grew up attending traditional events, what we would call Imemulo and others, where we would be in our traditional regalia. We would participate in the activities that are involved in that process, including participating in some of the amakwicho, as they will call it in other languages, in Xhosa in particular. So that has been my upbringing, my orientation. So every year, as a result of that upbringing, I'm always on the alert to hear who's going to be releasing new songs, mainly from Maskandi, a group, and I like their competition as well, which is very healthy.
Yeah.
It's very exciting.
Sometimes it's healthy.
Sometimes it can be very rough, I know, but it's generally very healthy if you grow up in that environment and you understand that this is how they compete about who really has an influence.
Yeah. Here's Kuzani with the song Nasina Ogohlanya.
Sibuyele nkandla sizohlala ingoma, sibuyele msinga sizohlala ingoma, sibuyele nenqondo sizohlala ingoma, ngisho ngengoma yami, ngoma yami, yewe athanda ingoma yami abantu, sibuyele msinga sizohlala ingoma. Ngisho ngengoma yami, ngoma yami, athanda ingoma yami abantu, sibuyele nenkandla sizohlala ingoma. Ngisho ngengoma yami, ngoma yami, athanda ingoma yami abantu, sibuyele nenqondo sizohlala ingoma. Sibuya ngoma sizohlala ingoma. Uyalena show, sizohlala ingoma. Ngisho ngengoma yami, ngoma yami, hayi athanda ingoma yami abantu, sibuyele show, sizohlala ingoma. Ngisho ngengoma yami, ngoma yami, athanda ingoma yami abantu, sibuyele show, sizohlala ingoma. Sibuyele nkandla sizohlala ingoma. Nabo bayazi labafana kade ngabahlula mina ngiyamnandi ingoma abantu sizohlala. Nabo bayazi labafana kade ngabahlula mina ngiyamnandi ingoma abantu sizohlala. Awuzwe nje ngisizohlala. Nabo bayazi labafana kade ngabahlula mina ngiyamnandi ingoma abantu sizohlala. Nabo bayazi labafana kade ngabahlula mina ngiyamnandi ingoma abantu sizohlala. Awuzwe nje bukase ngisizohlala. Nabo bayazi labafana kade ngabahlula mina ngiyamnandi ingoma abantu sizohlala. Nabo bayazi labafana kade ngabahlula mina ngiyamnandi ingoma abantu sizohlala. Awukanje bukase ngisizohlala. abo bayazi labafana kade ngabahlula mina ngento yamnandi ingoma kade ngisizohla abo bayazi labafana kade ngabahlula mina ngento yamnandi ingoma kade ngisizohla awuze abo bayazi labafana kade ngabahlula mina ngento yamnandi ingoma kade ngisizohla abo bayazi labafana kade ngabahlula mina ngento yamnandi ingoma kade ngisizohla awuze.
Good morning, Clement and your guest, Mr. Duli. Zukila here in Cape Town. I'd like to find out, man, what is this thing with him and Thabo Mbeki? It seems like Thabo Mbeki is so fond of him, what is this thing? I'd like to find out from him, actually, because I won't get a chance maybe anywhere to ask an old man. What is that, actually, that he make the old man so close or attached to him, or him attached to the old man? Thank you very much, sir.
Oh, thank you. Are you guys really that close?
Well, I don't think it's about really being that close, but I would say that he's one of the leaders of the ANC that I admire dearly, because of he grew up in the ANC, well informed. He's a well-rounded cadre of the movement, whether you're talking about governance, intellectual work. So he's one of the leaders that, as I grew up, he inspired me. I mean, when we were at the university, Clement, there was a time when President Mbeki would write what is called ANC Today, which was coming out on Friday. Literally, we will go and sit in the computer lane, because we didn't have computers, didn't have laptops. We were coming from poor backgrounds, never owned a computer until I started working. So we'll go and sit in the computer lane, open the internet, and read what he would have said on that week. So I grew up... let me say, I got to learn and understand the movement more from his own interventions through the ANC Today, among other things.
I see. We've got a call from TK, who is in Northcliffe. TK, good morning.
Good morning, Clement, and good morning, Sompis.
Sure, go ahead.
Yes, I share history with Sompis. We went to UKZ and PMB together, and we were in student leadership. And I'm just remembering a funny moment we had some years back. I think it was the residential election where I emerged as a president, but from the caucus, which was agreed upon, a different colleague was supposed to be the president, but the other members rebelled, and they voted me as the president. So they had to call Dumisani as the youth leader for ANC structure, and other comrades, Semi Mashita, to come and address this matter. So Dumisani and Semi called me to the side. But now the funny part, they did not have a leg to stand on, but because I was a member not in good standing, so they couldn't discipline me for what had transpired in the elections. It's nice to see how some PC has progressed, and it was an interesting period during our student politics at UK's and PMP.
Thank you so much, TK. Who's calling us there from Northcliffe. Tato on the WhatsApp line says, "Hey Clement, you have the most calm and reserved person in studio now, Mr. Duli. I've never heard him shout or be uncouth, even in Parliament." That's a message there from Tato. What do you think? Because there are a lot of people who say the way you communicate issues makes sense. You are one of the few spokesperson in the ANC who are able to just rationalize things and be calm and just make sense. What do you attribute, because you've been spokesperson in KwaZulu-Natal before you were even secretary. What do you attribute that to? Because even with the GNU, you were basically one of the spokespersons of the ANC during the GNU because you were involved in the negotiations.
Look, like I said earlier on when I was commenting on the issue around the influence that one has by various leaders of the ANC, I mean, one of the lessons that, Clement, I have taken to heart is what I read as having been said by one of our best Secretary General, Walter Sisulu, when he said at some point that when the ANC decided to elect him as the SG, he decided that he's going to leave Walter Sisulu at home and take the ANC Secretary General to the ANC office. And that will reflect even in the manner in which he related with his colleagues, the membership of the ANC, but society in general. And for me, that was one of the profound lessons that one acquired from the outstanding Walter Sisulu. And like I'm saying, I because I'm young, I could not have time really to observe that Sisulu in action. The only person that saw as President Oliver Tambo, for that matter, the only person that I had an opportunity for the past 20 years to observe in action has been President Thabo Mbeki. And I have no recollection of him having gone out to say anything that is when he's unprepared, when he's not composed, when he has not deeply thought about what he's going to say. And also with this understanding, as I'm saying, with reference to what I read about Walter Sisulu, that when you step into the public on behalf of the African National Congress, you are no longer communicating to your colleagues and your members. You are communicating to the nation as a whole, because historically the ANC has been understood by South Africans as their own property, their own organization. So even in Parliament, when I have disagreements with opposition parties, I always have to remember that I have to act in a way that tomorrow can inspire the same opposition members to say, I want to go back, for those who were once in the ANC, I want to go back to the ANC. But equally in a way that makes those who are internally in the ANC feel comfortable that we are competently and effectively represented in a way that is dignified, and in a way that that consolidate the standing and the prestige of our movement. So that's what is really driving me, as and when I not that I don't have moment where I get irritated. I do, but even under those circumstances, I always recall before I open my mouth that, but now I'm not speaking as Dumisani Duli. I've got to speak on behalf of an important instrument of our people, which is the African National Congress.
11:30. We've got the latest in Eyewitness News headlines. When we come back, I see your WhatsApps, your calls as well on 011-883-0702. We'll get to them as we continue this conversation on our Hanging Out feature with Dumisani Duli, the ANC Chief Whip in the National Assembly. Mongezi, good morning.
Thanks, Clement. A very good morning. We begin with news just in. The National Consumer Commission has announced a recall of certain Ford Transit and Transit Tornado custom vehicles. The recall affects 582 vehicles from the 2022 to 2026 model range, which was sold nationwide between 2021 and 2025. The Commission says the issue relates to a faulty battery that may produce a strong acidic smell, a hissing sound, or even visible gas emissions inside the vehicle. Auditor General Tsakane Maluleke says government departments with the largest budgets continue to receive qualified audit outcomes, raising concerns about accountability and service delivery. Presenting the national and provincial audit outcomes for the 2024-2025 financial year, Maluleke warned that widespread non-compliance with public finance management legislation remains persistent and largely without consequence. And the future of the City of Tshwane's Chief Financial Officer Gareth Mnisi hangs in the balance as the Municipal Council meets to consider his possible suspension. Mnisi has been implicated at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry for allegedly manipulating and rigging tenders. Speaking at a media briefing this morning, Tshwane Mayor Nasi Pimoya confirmed the council will zoom into Mnisi's alleged misconduct later today. Now those are your headlines, this EWN and more at midday or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
While travelling in Midrand, we've got delays on the N1 South. This is between Olifantsfontein Road and New Road. This due to an accident in between. Please be on the lookout there and drive with care. If you are travelling on the N3 North, we've got some issues just as you approach the Kilulis interchange, and then of course queuing traffic along the M2 West. This is between the Crown interchange and Main Reef Road. That's in the Amalgam area. If you are travelling in Sharon Lee, be on the lookout for some issues on Malibongo Drive approaching the N1. There's also a bit of a hold-up reported in Rodiport along Hendrik Potgieter Road. Delays coming out of the N1. That's due to an accident seen there. Please be on the lookout and continue driving with care. That's your last update from me, Amo Ramela. Otherwise, Karabujali will have your next one at the top of the hour. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Bongani Bingwa, 702 Breakfast.
Weekday mornings, 6 to 9.
Investigative journalist and author Peter Louis Meyerberg, writing for the Daily Maverick, has traced more than 11.3 million rand in unexplained cash deposits into a company allegedly linked to the former Eskom and Transnet boss Brian Molefe. 706 separate deposits made over a time, but a noticeable spike near Eskom's Johannesburg headquarters as soon as he moved there, and all of them stopping as soon as he left.
This report follows on an investigation we published earlier in March, where we first linked Brian Molefe to some of the outflows from this account. So there were payments made towards a wedding for Brian Molefe, and then a whole range of other what seemed to be lifestyle expenses was being covered from this Falcacap account.
Bongani Bingwa, 6 to 9.
On 702.
Okay, truck 7, that has zero warning lights. Truck 8, it's just been serviced. I guess we're running like a well-oiled machine. Where would I be without MyWay's comprehensive cover for my vans and trucks? Plus, cover for my customers' orders with goods and transit insurance. I guess we'll never know.
Visit myway.co.za or dial 0860 64 64 64 and get a quote today. MyWay is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's, C's and standard rates apply. MyWay. Live your way.
This is what progress sounds like. At South African Airways, we've added more aircraft to the runway, increased our flights from just over 1,000 in 2021 to over 24,000 last year. And we continue to add more destinations and routes. It's steady progress over time. We know there's still work to do, but every day we're building something stronger. An airline that shares the resilience of the country it carries. South African Airways. Book your next flight at flysaa.com today.
To walk the talk is to turn words into meaningful actions. And it's what we at 702 are committed to doing every day. We are also committed to following the rules set out by the Broadcasting Complaints Commission's Code of Conduct. To give you balanced programming, fair comments, and accurate news. But if we stumble along the way and you feel we are not living up to the code, let us know on comment@702.co.za. And if after that you're still not happy, you can direct your complaint in writing to the Broadcasting Complaints Commission. Email bccsa@nabsa.co.za. For more, visit bccsa.co.za.
The colder days are starting to creep in, and for thousands of vulnerable people and animals, warmth just isn't guaranteed. The Discam Foundation's Blankets Plus campaign is back for the 10th year to deliver winter essentials like blankets, beanies, and gloves to those who need them most. Today, on the afternoon drive with John Pellman, we'll speak to the people behind this heartwarming campaign. To nominate a cause for this year's drive, visit Discam Pharmacies on Facebook or Instagram and look for Blankets Plus campaign post to cast your vote. Remember, every swipe of your Discam Better Rewards card makes initiatives like this possible. The Discam Foundation, caring for the community. Every swipe counts.
Hanging out with Clement
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
It's 23 minutes before 12 o'clock. We're hanging out with Dumisani Duli this morning, who is the chief whip of the ANC in the National Assembly. Let me go to your messages that have come through so far.
Morning, Clement. Morning to the listeners as well. Yeah, man, not an ANC member. I've never voted ANC, but I think Dumisani Duli is one of those leaders, you can look up to as a citizen. He's measured, calm, communicates well, So yeah, I think the ANC has one of the best deployees in Parliament in Duli. It's my comment. Kanye and Katlong, thanks.
Thank you, Kanya. Another one on the WhatsApp line says Clement Dumisani is a very polished politician among the ANC. Among the very few, I must say, he's dignified and a good role model to the youth. I can safely say I really admire him a lot. So a lot of people really appreciate the work you do, but is it difficult, would you say, to speak for the ANC now than it was many years ago? Because, of course, of the challenges the ANC faces and sort of the reaction it gets from members of the public, because there are a lot who no longer, as you have seen through your numbers, believe in the movement. How difficult is it to represent the organization today?
Look, Clement, it can be very difficult because the ANC has been a governing party for the past 30 years, and during that period, a lot of mistakes were committed. Great work was done, but a lot of mistakes were committed. And the problem is that some of these mistakes were not committed at a certain level. They were cutting across, whether it's local government, provincial, and the national government, and within the party itself. So there are moments where when you step out to say something on behalf of the ANC, you feel like there's a very strong wave of people who have already decided before they hear you that they're not going to agree with you. And my own attitude has always been that the best thing to do is to be truthful. Truthful and be honest about whatever position that you are communicating on behalf of the ANC, because people are more educated now. They are more aware. They access information from different platforms. So there's no need to stand up and want to sugarcoat certain things. If things are not good, you say them as they are. If they are good, you also do so, and let people judge on the basis of you having been honest in your communication.
Yeah. Do you think that there's still an opportunity for the ANC to win back the trust of the people that have always supported the organization? Because the reason you, as the ANC, have won the majority of votes for 30 years is because there are a lot of people who had trust in the organization, and now that has changed. But can the ANC win back that support, do you think? And if so, how do they go about doing that?
It's a huge task. It's not impossible, but it's a very huge task. My own view is that it's probably going to have to start with my generation and a few others who may be slightly senior to us, who must understand that there are a few things that we have to do differently in order to restore the integrity of our movement. One of those is to serve our people wholeheartedly. I'm a chief whip of the ANC. I should be content with that. And I should discharge my responsibilities efficiently and effectively. Not because I see this position as a step ladder to become a minister or anything of that sort. If anything like that comes in the future, it should be a bonus. But the way in which I apply myself into the current responsibility given to me by the movement must be beyond reproach. That is where we need to begin. And that applies at all levels of the what we may call a cadreship and the membership of the organization. If you are a ward council, you've got to excel on that job. If you are a minister, you must excel on that job. So that because when you excel on your responsibility, you are giving confidence to the population that there is a future for the African National Congress. And I'm saying it should start with my generation because I think, I would imagine that the overwhelming majority within my generation will not want to see a situation where when tomorrow we effectively inherit the African National Congress as an apex leadership of the movement and the country, we're inheriting an organization that is not a governing party. So I think it has to start with us, not just for our own sake, for the sake of our people. Because the weaknesses in the ANC, because of its dominance and size, become by default
Yeah.
a challenge to the society as a whole.
But at the rate things are going now, there's no way you're going to inherit an ANC that is stable or that is in charge in the majority. At the rate things are going now, do you agree with that?
So I understand that, but I think our attitude, we should approach it with the mentality that if we don't inherit an ANC that is dominantly a governing party, we must see it as our responsibility to restore that moving forward, because I don't think that is impossible. I do think there are many good men and women or comrades in the African National Congress who are driven by genuine interest of the country and the ANC. It's just that many of them are not occupying positions where decisions are made so that they can influence the direction into the best interest of our country.
You know what sometimes confuses members of the public, and I'll use this example because it's a recent one. Because you said earlier, if you're a minister as well, you need to be able to discharge your responsibility with a lot of honor and respect and take that seriously. But take, for instance, someone like Nkabane, Nobuhle Nkabane, who was a minister of higher education. She showed such belligerent attitude towards Parliament. The president was not even happy with her. That's why she was fired, and yet she still emerges as the deputy chief whip of the ANC. How explaining that to South Africans is what exactly confuses them, that the ANC is not serious about accountability. Because if this person was bad enough to be fired by the president, why is she good enough to be hired as the deputy chief whip in the ANC?
Let me tell you what is. Firstly, let me indicate, Clement, that I'm a deployee, so I don't take those decisions myself. They are taken on my behalf, and I get told you are a deployee, you are a chief whip, and then I also get told who becomes the deputy chief whip and all other responsibilities. But let me tell you how I understood what might have informed that position by the leadership. Here you have a relatively young person, initially introduced as a deputy minister, and work relatively well to the extent that the feeling was that probably she should be given a chance and be introduced in the executive, which is not a bad decision because at our age, the early 40s, we should. In many countries, when you are in the age where we are, you're already really assuming major responsibilities in the country and in the state. So then get promoted to become a minister, set up the office, and the work begins, and fatal mistakes are committed.
Yeah.
Remember, I said this is a relatively young person, the young leader of the organization. So you've got to take very serious decision about that, and the president decided that she must be fired, which was correct. She got fired, remained in parliament as a backbencher. My own observation as a chief whip, because now that she's in parliament, she's full-time under my watch and stewardship in terms of leadership. He is a person who does not say, because I was fired by the president, I'm not going to come to parliamentary sittings, I'm not going to attend portfolio committees, so I'm just going to disappear or do other things which are indicating my protest for having been removed in the executive. So my sense was that the leadership is communicating a message that the firing by the president was not intended to destroy you. You are young, you committed a mistake, we have a responsibility to rebuild you. And if you are demonstrating the capacity to be rehabilitated, then you must be given a smaller responsibility to
and
become,
I think that's fair enough, because you don't want to cancel someone, especially someone like that who's got the skills. The challenge though is...
And you, Clement, sorry to interject, she didn't steal any money. There were errors of judgment in terms of
she lied to Parliament. That's a very serious
It's a very serious offense.
But what I'm trying to say is, I get your point, and I agree. You don't want cancel culture where someone makes a mistake and you just throw them to this dark hole. People must be able to be given a chance to do better. If they rehabilitate, they're still in the movement, give them the opportunity. But with the minister, I don't get a sense that she takes accountability.
You mean the former minister?
The former minister. Because even at the ethics committee, when you see, she's trying to put the blame on the advisor. And I'm sure now, because the ruling is that she has to go apologize, she'll be reprimanded by the National Assembly. Maybe now she'll mean the apology. But even when the president removed her, the way she wrote that statement confirming it was just so, it appeared so even disrespectful towards the president.
I had an opportunity to discuss the issue of the ethics committee with her. Just to reflect on, because I was not part of the meeting when she appeared there, but now that the report is out and is going to serve before Parliament, as a chief whip, I was obviously very interested, naturally, on her understanding of what has happened. I do think, Clement, that when the Speaker administers that decision or that punishment, the reprimand by the Ethics Committee, and for her to apologize, I'm at a point myself that I think at that time, I think from where she is now, she has learned that even as she was responding to these problems, whether it's in the Ethics Committee or responding to the President's decision to recall her, many of those things were not really driven by a well-considered approach and a well-considered view. I think she now understands that mistakes were committed, even including how she was justifying what actions that she has taken. I think we are likely to see a different person out of what Nkabane, known by South Africans, was. And my own view is that I think given her own age, it may be wise that we give her an opportunity to see if she has a capacity to redeem herself, which I think she does.
Okay. It's going up to 10 minutes now. Before 12 o'clock. So let's go to your calls now on 011-883-0702. Mpo, you are calling us from Brooklyn. Good morning.
Good morning, Clement.
Hey, Tara, go ahead.
Mdu, how are you?
I'm very well, my brother. How are you?
Mpos Gida from University of KZN.
Oh, no, I remember you. I remember you very well.
How are you?
I'm very well, very well.
I'm
how
good.
are you?
Yeah, Baba, I'm good, man. Look, man, to the point. The 12 years to come from now, these old people within the movement and all of them, the Morogoro, those people who will tell you about all things, they're phasing out now. They're slowly phasing out. In 12 years' time, there'll be a new leadership. I want you to paint a picture of assuming the position of being president in 12 years' time and tell us, where do you envision this country to be in, say, 2040? I'm just giving a silly
under
example.
The GNU, Mpo, or under
No.
an ANC majority government?
Let's say an ANC as a vanguard of the current government. So, Mdu, I just want to hear what your vision is. Perhaps that could work towards your presidency in 12 years' time.
Okay. Thank you, Mpo in Brooklyn. Are you launching him now to try and challenge that? Thank you for that question, Mpo in Brooklyn. Before you respond to that, though, do you have an interest? Like, would you like to lead the ANC one day? And please don't give me the political answer of, if the branches say so, then I can say. I will see.
No, I won't give you that kind of an answer. I mean, Clement, by virtue of the virtue of the fact that I'm a member of the National Executive Committee, it's given that I've got an interest to lead the organization in whatever responsibility that may be designated by the structures of the movement. I think in Mpo, where I think we need to go, obviously I've never thought of myself being the president of the ANC. I mean, even when I stood as Secretary General 3 years ago, it's not something that had been developing over time. It was decided by my comrades and colleagues just after the KZN Provincial Conference that this is a person they think should be considered for the SG. But what I think we need to do, Clement, which I'm very certain is not impossible, it's going to be difficult but not impossible. You know how the ANC started losing support amongst the people? It was because of internal problems within the ANC. That's where all problems began. And when internal problems started to rise up, divisions, fight over leadership, what then happens in return is that you get leadership that is elected following a very intense contestation. And when the leadership is elected in the context like that, you are unable to retain the best at the highest level of leadership, whether in the NEC, in the province, or in the region. The consequence of which is that because you do not have the best, they are also going to appoint their deployees in provinces, premiers, MECs, mayors, MMCs, following the same script, which is not necessarily always adhering to the best that is available to serve our people and the movement at a given time. So how we are going to turn around the corner, in my own view, the first thing is that we've got to do everything possible to stop the bleeding of the ANC as a result of internal contestation. Somebody will ask me how, because already there are certain names being touted for the presidents or any other position in 2027. But it's the conversation that we need to confront. I'm saying within the leadership and more specifically within my own generation. Because at some point, as it was done in 1940s, some people must stand up to stop what is happening, which is not right. It will entail sacrifices. It might not work with the conference next year, maybe work with the conference after that, but somebody's got to begin somewhere and the seed must be planted. But when we do so, we must recognize the fact that there will be consequences. Because those who are opposed to a united, credible, strong organization will always be very, very hostile towards an agenda of electing a united leadership. Because I always argue that, Clement, if we choose a leadership that is united, some of us won't qualify to be in that leadership. And when I know I won't qualify, but if I manipulate process, I stand a chance to win elections in the ANC, then I will be opposed to the unity talk. I will see it as not as a unity, but as an exclusion of me, while I think I've got other means through which I can secure a position that I want. But it's an agenda that we must not allow to be off our side. We've got to work for that, because it will be the beginning of the consolidation of the African National Congress.
Okay. Are you going to try again for SG next year in the conference?
It would depend. If structures of the ANC come to me and say, we think that you must go back and stand for whatever position they so decide, I will never say no to the structures of the ANC when they say so. Of course, that is only the function of what will happen when the processes are formally open later on, early next year in particular.
Well, thank you so much, man, for coming through. It was lovely to really get to know you, get your views, but also get to know how you started your commitment for the struggle for freedom. Thank you so much for coming through.
Thanks,
to hang
Clement.
out with us.
Thank you very much, and thanks to you and your listeners. Thank you.
All right, it's going up to 4 minutes now before 12 o'clock.
Take a ride back to the greatest decades in music.
Because Saturdays on 702
are all about timeless tunes.
At 10 a.m.
Kenny Maestri sets the stage with the greatest hits of the 80s
and 90s. At 2 p.m., Pushaza Sibia keeps the nostalgia flowing
with more classics you can't help but sing along to.
Then at 5 p.m., Richard Mwamba
celebrates the sounds of the continent
with This Is Africa.
It's more than just music.
It's your Saturday wrapped in the sounds you love.
Only on 702.
702.
Let's walk the talk.
With insurance, saving on your car insurance feels like scoring the last cinnamon donut at the bakery. 45-year-old Nivan saves an unbelievable 461 Rand a month on his 2025 Volkswagen T-Cross. Get a quote now, and if insurance can't save you money, ask for 500 Rand or 1,500 Rand if you have been claim-free and with the same insurer for 3 years. Get savings or cash. SMS out to 45142. That's out to 45142. Outsurance, licensed insurer and FSP. T's and C's and information online.
You hear that? That's the sound of business execution finally visible. No more chasing people and reports. No more disconnected systems. No more guessing if our business is performing or not. iStratGo connects strategy, people, performance, and day-to-day work into one clear software platform, so leaders can see what's working, what's not, and where to focus. Because when execution is visible, everything runs better. Book a demo on iStratGo.com. ISTRATGO.com.
Stuck in traffic again? It gives you time to think. Is the real scent of Mzansi that first rain on hot bricks vibe? Or is it Sunday morning cook sisters and coffee? Don't let the debate stall. Settle the score and tell us your hashtag the smell of Mzansi on Amuco's social media pages. Brought to you by Amuco, a product of Orstel Pharmaceuticals.
Small business owners speak a language of their own, and it's a language MTN Business and 702 understand very well. That's why we're celebrating SMEs who walk that entrepreneurial talk in the 702 MTN Small Business Awards, from the townships to the suburbs and everywhere in between. Small businesses are proving that big things can grow from bold ideas. If that sounds like your business, or you know, just go to primemediaplus.com if you know one as well, to enter or nominate them, because once we start talking about your business, who knows how much further it could go. The 702 MTN Small Business Awards. Let's talk shop. T's and C's apply.
Coming up
On the Midday Report
with Mandy Wiener.
Mandy Wiener, good morning.
Good morning, Clement.
What's popping vandag?
So the presidency will speak to us about the status of National Police Commissioner General Fani Masemola after your conversation with the police minister earlier today. The Higher Education Minister Buti Manamela will talk to us about the directive issued to the NSFAS board. The Auditor General's just released her national and provincial government report. Always interesting to see what's happening in different metros and different municipalities and the regression that we're seeing there. The Tshwane mayor responds to corruption allegations against city officials, and it's a Thursday, Clem. So our book of the week is Raising the Bar. It's from Judge Jeremy Pickering.
All right, that's what's coming up on the Midday Report with Mandy Wiener. Let me thank you for listening to the Thursday edition of the Clement Manyathela Show. A lot of you have been asking about the interview with Julius Malema. Where can you catch it? Well, go to our podcast. Just go to primemediaplus.com, or if you Google Clement Manyathela Show, Julius Malema, it should pop up. You can also watch it because we were streaming it on YouTube as well. Thank you for listening to the show. I'll be back with you tomorrow between 9 and 12. Have a beautiful day, my friends. Bye-bye.
This is EWN.
A very good afternoon. I'm Munki Zikoko. We begin with news just in. The National Consumer Commission has announced a recall of certain Ford Transit and Transit Tornado custom vehicles. The recall affects 582 vehicles from the 2022 to 2026 model range, which was sold nationwide between 2021